All right.
The Anything Podcast. Official.
It's beneficial.
Yep. Now, remind me again. I'm Chris.
I don't know how it's so hard to remember your name.
You're Chris.
I am.
I'm Aaron,
Sure.
and this is the Anything Podcast.
He's actually George, everybody.
Definitely not George. George is a stink bug.
Yeah.
Wolfgang is a spider who bit me pretty good on my leg.
Bastard.
So my first call of order, or whatever you say. If you have a person that you have ousted out of your life due to their personal life choices, and it's been a mutual agreement between other people that you're not going to associate with this person any longer, but the person texts you that they miss you and they want to hang out with you and go out and do stuff with you. Now, you can't tell the person the truth that we've all decided not to be friends with you any longer, or not really just not associate with you at this moment in time.
Well, I think I can insert right here because I think I know where this is going. But one of the things is, first of all, if that's a group decision, I would say that the group has ousted her, not necessarily, or him or whoever it might be. Then I think the person in question, if it's your decision too, like you don't need to base your decision on anybody else. Mm-hmm. So if you want to continue with that person, by all means, go ahead. But I think if it's like a group thing where they're like, oh, this person's making bad choices and causing issues between the group itself, and the dynamic there, then I think respect the group's decision. But if you want to be in your own outside of that, then there's no problem there.
Sure.
It's just, it's up to you and what you want to do.
Yeah, I would never let a issue with another person affect my personal view of someone.
I may take that from a group mentality.
I might take that into consideration. Oh, the group or a person in our particular group had some sort of issue with that person. We're not inviting them to group functions any longer.
Yeah.
Totally respect that. If I thought that their reason was stupid, I would stick up for that person. If I see the other person's point of view and say, yeah, I understand why you don't want to associate with this person, but I am still going to associate with them, then I would.
Yeah.
But my question is, I agree with the group sentiment that
you don't, that you want to cut the ties.
Well, I don't have any interest in getting together or hanging out, but I don't want to be rude to that person that says we should hang out soon. So,
well, I mean, if you want, you can just be nice and be civil. I mean, you could flat out say, look, I'm trying to or you could just, be honest about it too and say, look, something's going on
with you that I don't want to do. I don't want to tolerate. See, that's hard for people. The honesty factor is difficult.
There's ways to mask it though. And I don't mean like kind of beating around the bush, maybe saying like, there's definitely ways to mask it where you could, instead of saying, look, I don't want to spend any time, or I don't want to see you because A, B, and C. You could be brutally honest, and that would be brutally honest. But the one thing you could do too is just be nice about it as well. So you could be like, hey, look, there's a lot of things going on right now. I don't know if I have time. That's kind of like the beat around the bush angle. Or you could just be like, look, hey, you've been making some pretty questionable choices as of lately. I'm trying to associate my way of life with positivity or, something that's against what that person's doing. Yeah. And then just say, look, right now, I don't have time for that in my life. Where you're being nice about it, but you're being honest about it.
Yeah.
You could do that, or you could just ignore the situation and be like, well, or you could like play it off. But that person could just be like, hey, I want to hang out. Hey, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of different ways you can handle it. It's just a matter of what you feel is best for you, either to be brutally honest or to be just truthful about the whole thing to begin with. I mean, and who knows, down the road that person could change their thinking or their ideas or something. But who knows?
Yeah. Well, my whole thing is, first, I always answer texts or phone calls or voicemails. I don't ignore. So I was involved in the conversation, and then I didn't notice that there was a new addition to the text. So I would normally respond right back away. Well, then enough time had passed where I saw the text like, miss you, we should hang out soon. Or like the second part of it is we should hang out soon or something. I'd have to look at it. But I didn't see that one for at least a couple hours. Then I thought, well, it's already been a couple hours, and I believe in honesty, and I'm not the brutally honest person, because then you don't want to hurt someone's feelings. Yeah. But I also believe
truth
in honesty. Yeah, truth definitely hurts. So you have to find that nuanced way of telling someone it's not you, it's your choices, or, I'm in a different, but you don't want to hurt someone's feelings. That's even, what's weird is that
I know.
Maybe you're not even going to hurt their feelings. You just think that you are. And that's a lot of reason why
Or, here's the other thing too. I mean, being honest with that person, like if this group's decided to, I guess, like blackball or
that's not my
oust this person or whatever it might be.
I'm not going to say that.
Or just like, we'll just say disassociate with this person.
Yeah.
Maybe it could be like a wake up call to that person too, to say, or to realize their bad path or their bad ways or something. I don't really know. But maybe it could be a learning opportunity for that person. It really depends on kind of what their situation is or what the group decided upon, the reasons why. And then also, it also depends on yours as well, because like the group can have individual differences, which may not apply to you directly, but you're still on that side of the fence because there's something that you see that explains something that's a problem as well. And maybe even voicing that, like I say, in a nice way where you don't want to hurt the person's feelings, but then again, you still want them to realize that it's not necessarily them, like you said. It's the way that they're making decisions and the way that they're living their life that's causing discrepancy between you and the group that you guys associated with.
Yeah. And plus, I'm just in a different place in my life where I just don't have any interest of spending any time with that person. There's nothing in it for me that I'm going to get out of it or care about. And that's my personal choice. It's not. Yeah. And then the other things that happen in their life and the choices that they're making are why they're
veering.
Yeah. Are why other people have chosen not to associate with them. So for me, I just, when posed with the question, do you want to spend time with me? I thought, well, I'm in a different point in my life now. I'm not interested in spending time with you as a human being. You don't really have anything that is interesting towards me that I would want. What are we going to do?
Yeah. Well, it's not necessarily where it's interesting. It's adding value to your life.
Value. Yep.
And if that person's not adding the value or even taking away value and going in a negative way, then you don't want to associate with people like that.
So then do I text, you don't add value to my life? Sorry, I'm busy.
I would say that's under the brutally honest category, but I also would say that that's a, almost kind of like a cop out because you're not explaining yourself. Maybe explaining yourself in a way can be more beneficial. Do you think that person's actually going to hear what you're saying or?
Well, that's the other question. So we all know this person and we know the choices that they're making, and they're not, but are we doing a disservice as friends without being, as a group, saying, look, you have valuable qualities, but these choices that you made are the reason why you're not being invited to here and why this person has an issue. Are we doing this person a disservice as a friend by just ousting them? Okay. Or should we be honest?
So I'm gonna come out brutally honest at this moment and say to anybody who's listening, I know exactly what's going on, who this person is, and all that. I was playing coy and trying to play like a almost like a devil's advocate.
Well, at first it was just a general scenario, but we've narrowed it down to specific.
Now that we're going specific and we know the exact situation, yes. So restating that, that person's making bad decisions and had the option many times to correct that, and has been confronted many times about the decisions that they're making. And it comes to a point where it's like, all right, well, I'm not responsible for your decision making. I'm not the reason why you're going to make good or bad decisions. That's all up on you. And if you want to be destructive about it, and not grow or whatever, then, your time or my time will not include you because of those decisions. And I don't want to associate around those decisions.
Yep.
I don't want to be caught in a game of this weird web of lies or mistrust, and a lot of different things that go on to it. And I don't want to get into, I'm keeping it a very big veil because I'm not trying to get into the specifics of what this person's done or is doing. But for people who are listening, that they're like, well, I have this person that, they're not adding value to my life, but they're actually taking away, or they're maybe like an energy vampire, or they're making bad decisions, or any of those types of people, it's okay to, cut ties with them. And I've cut ties with a lot of different people, whether it be family and friends that I used to associate with, because they weren't adding the proper value to my life. They weren't contributing to where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do with my life. Yep. They wanted to either stay in the same place or stay in a negative way, and I didn't want to be like that. So I've cut those people out, and it was hard at first. It was tough because then they were the main people. You were like maybe your main circle. And for a little while, I just kind of like floated from circle to circle without having like a good tie to people. And it was hard at first, but you know what? I was much better off. And I appreciate the fact that I did that. So when I see other people who say that they're going to cut people out because of that, it's like, well, put your money where your mouth is. Because when you put it on Facebook, I don't believe it. But when you actually do it, that's a whole different thing.
For sure.
Now, I'm not going to say like those people that I've cut out, down the road, hey, our paths might intertwine again, where maybe we're both on the same receiving end of adding value to each other's lives. So in this case of this person that we know, if they want to, actually change their way and change their thought process, like I'm honest with this person. I've called this person out a couple of times on the decisions they're making and have made. And it's always the same. Well, I don't like, it'll happen soon. It's starting to happen, and this, that, and the other thing. Like, there's always these excuses. And even when you get past the excuses, it's like, well, your behavior is just destructive to begin with. So I don't, we opened ourselves with open arms.
Yes.
Trying to help you get beyond certain situations that you were in. Yes. Without taking that offer up and continuing your destructive behavior. So now we've come to the point where we don't want to associate with that because of the amount of times that you've been given still. And
that's the thing, is this has been going on for a year where multiple people have said the same thing over and over again. And if you have 4 people who are saying, you got to get out of this situation, make better choices, do this differently over and over again, and you keep, eventually those people do exactly what's happening and say, well, look, I'm not going down with you. And I'm neutral as long as you don't negatively affect me or make choices that are hurting yourself or someone else. Do whatever you want in your life. I don't care. But when it comes to making choices that are going to ultimately hurt you or someone else, then that's where I have to say, look, we've tried to help you repeatedly over and over again. And if you're still going to keep continuing in this pattern, then I'm not neutral anymore. I just have to avoid you. So,
and that's perfectly fine. However you want to handle that situation. Because I know you felt that way for probably a longer time than it's been, because the way you've associated with this person has changed from, last year through today, before that whole situation kind of arose. So I've seen the disassociation there to begin with. And, it was kind of a long time coming.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, I mean, not to say that this person can't change or can't adjust, but I don't think this person will.
No, I don't think so either. And that's what's complicated about human beings is us on the outside of the situation. We all think, well, obviously you should do this differently and make a different choice. And we've all repeatedly said in our own ways to try to, steer this person on the right course. But it's the emotions. The emotions run some people.
No, it's not just the emotion. It's also the ego.
Yeah.
When your ego is like that, you don't want to admit you're wrong. Yep. You want to rationalize irrational behavior.
For sure.
And so this person's doing that, where they're trying to rationalize it by either just copping out and saying, oh, I ignoring it altogether, or agreeing with it just to appease the other person and still continuing with the same behavior. So those are problems right there.
You just brought up something that I think in my development as an adult human being is one of the most important things. The most important thing that I've learned in life is how to realize that and when I say you, I mean me as a person, we're all experiencing life to learn and grow. And admitting to yourself that you can be wrong and that maybe you don't know everything or someone might know different or better things than you is one of the most important things that I did, because I know a lot of people in life can't admit when they're wrong or they can't see their own errors or mistakes.
Yeah, and it's a bruising to the ego. And it's the same thing like with a relationship. Like other people will look at a relationship and say, oh, why are you in that relationship? It's bad. It's destructive. Yeah. It's not good. It's not healthy. Yeah. You're going to get hurt or you're going to just be in a bad spot. Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
And it can cost friendships. It can cost relationships. It can cost, with family and that. It can cost a lot of things. And when you're in it, looking with the blinders on because you only see one way, you don't see the whole circle. It's tough and you rationalize it. Like a friend of mine, she's in a relationship where she doesn't want to, she's always got these doubts. And I'm like, why are you still in that relationship? Why don't you just get out of it and break it? Well, we just got a house together. Well, we did. And you're rationalizing it, but yet every single person around is saying, get out. Don't do it.
Yep.
And it's weird because this person told me that their father actually told them that I can't wait until you get married to this person because you'll get a divorce and then you can finally move on. And it's but the siblings did that. They were in bad relationships, got married, then got divorced, and then finally was able to move on. And it's why would you have that kind of mentality?
Right.
Why wouldn't you you're agreeing now? He made it as a joke.
Yeah.
And he obviously doesn't want her to be with this person because it's a bad relationship. It's just a destructive. It's you're complaining about the person nonstop.
Yeah.
Instead, why don't you be with somebody who's growing you and making you be better in all of these things and being a positive influence? Instead, you're just not listening to that person. And, I was in a bad relationship a long time ago where the relationship itself was over, but it was just one of those things where you kind of wanted to rationalize or the fear of being alone or whatever. All of those intricate things complicate things or seemingly complicate things. So you just kind of want to avoid it because, you're comfortably miserable and you're in this little shell and, it's okay and whatever. But then when you break free from it, it's wow, why the hell didn't I do that sooner?
Yeah.
And so from that moment on, I actually would listen to other people, especially when it came to relationships, because I can feel oh, I might be blinded with whatever, the sex or, just thinking I'm happy or, the belonging, the sense of belonging or something like that, where it feels good, but it's overall not good.
Yep.
So I started listening to other people and really taking their input seriously in debating on situations that maybe with friends or relationships or romantic relationships or family relationships, things like that. I'll look at and evaluate differently and try to see it from the outside versus being in it. So I don't know. I just think life is too short, and to be in a negative mind space or way, it's just not worth it.
Yeah. And not only does it bring you down, the other person down, it brings people around you down too, just by proxy. And I think the opposite of that happened to me, where I was I like to call it my Vietnam relationship, because it was horrible, and I was young, and you're just...
Well, a romantic relationship or friendship?
It was a romantic relationship.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a long time ago, but I mean, it was Vietnam. I mean, we were both, 19 years old. Everything's crazy.
I think everybody's had that kind of relationship where you think it's that one, and this is the person you might end up together with, and reality of the situation is you're 19 years old. You have no idea what the fuck you want in life, and you really don't even know that until like your 30s or even like late 20s, early 30s. Like my mindset in just the last year and a half has changed so much.
Oh, mine too.
And I'm in my early 30s, and just the way I look at life, the way I look at the world, the way I look at how things work, has shifted dramatically and changed so much. So like I said, life is short, and we never know when. Like we're standing in a line, and we don't know when we're getting to that next.
That's
when
right.
We're the next in line.
When your number's up. Well, and I'm glad I look back on it now, and I'm glad that I'm not with that person. But also what happened to me is that I never wanted to have that relationship again, where you're just staying in it to be in it. You're like, well, this was a bad time, but I love this person, So now what happened to me, the pendulum swang the other way. When I would meet someone who was a potential to be in a relationship, the minute that we had one fight or something went wrong, I just got out of there. Like, okay, bye. And I just had no toleration for any kind of... So, and that's not good either. You have to... there has to be some kind of compromise.
I mean, every relationship is going to have disagreements. It's the working through the disagreements. And okay, bye. Being non-confrontational is a problem too, because you're probably becoming a people pleaser, and you're probably letting people walk all over you, and just trying to avoid conflict. When in fact, they're going to seek that out. They're going to realize that, and they're going to use that against you. For sure. And you really don't want to do that. You want to make sure you stand your ground and stand up for yourself and your morals and be respected. And that's a huge thing right there. And that's like, a lot of, I do ride shares, so I do Uber and Lyft. And one of the big things is a lot of passengers will be disrespectful towards drivers, and you see it on YouTube all the time. And myself and a few other people are like, just don't take crap from people. Pull over, kick them out. You can do that. You don't have to be disrespected. And that's the same thing. And it's nothing. I mean, it's different in terms of this is like a 10-minute interaction with somebody versus, either being in a romantic relationship or friendship with somebody where you have this bond, or you have something that's brought you two together, or multiple people together. So it's a little different that way, but it's still the same thing. It's like you don't want to be disrespected, so you need to stand your ground, and you need to know what your self-worth is. For sure. And I think going back to it's just so complicated. Relationships are complicated, but you're right. When you're in the relationship, you don't see what the people on the outside are seeing. But also, again, and that's and the big thing is take their word a little bit more serious. Exactly. I mean, if everybody, like, put your ego aside and actually evaluate what they're saying and truly think about it and try to look at it from the outside and say, is this the first ask yourself if this is we'll use an example as a romantic relationship. If people are saying like you shouldn't be with this person, this person's using you, or whatever that you hear is the common thread, evaluate it and be like, what would be my ideal relationship? Is this person that ideal? And if the answer is no, there's no reason to continue.
Right.
Like, it doesn't matter if you have the same address. It doesn't matter if you're living together. It doesn't matter if you're sharing a cell phone bill. It doesn't matter if you're sharing, whatever it might be, a car or whatever, a job. Like, just separate.
Yeah.
Get away from each other. Like, you're not meant to be. Like, you can always get a new house or an apartment or whatever. You could sell the house or apartment. Whatever it is, get out and first make the decision to move on, or to move on with your life away from this person, and just let everything else fall in order, because it will.
Yeah.
Like, you can kick them out, they can kick you out, or whatever it might be. But
it's funny you mention that, and I'll see what you think. I have a friend who met a young lady who is living with a gentleman. She's in her mid-20s, living with a guy. He's obsessed with sports. They don't have a lot in common. She doesn't particularly get anything fulfilling out of a relationship, but they've been together for a few years, and they have an apartment together, but there's no house, and they're engaged. They're going to be married. Mm-hmm. But she's pressured into getting married from her parents, and they just love the guy. And she's afraid to disappoint her parents, and she won't leave this guy for two reasons. One reason is because she has an apartment with him, and two, she doesn't want to disappoint her parents. And she's in her 20s, so that's another thing.
First of all, yeah, I mean, the big thing is, as a parent, you want the best thing for your child. Yeah. You don't want them, if they're not happy,
that's what I said.
Especially in a relationship, they should be supportive of that decision. Just because they might look good, like that other person might look good when you're around, but if the relationship itself isn't fulfilling to you, or isn't giving you any benefits, it's not worth it. Why would you be unhappy? Because down the road, one day you're going to wake up and you're just going to be unhappy. Yeah. So what is going to happen? Either they're going to cheat on you, you're going to cheat on them.
That's exactly
you're
what
going
happened.
To find something new, and you're not going to be happy at all.
That's
and
exactly what's happening.
You're going to waste your life.
Yep.
And then the apartment thing, who cares?
When you're in your 20s, that's crucial.
That's not even like
a matter. Yeah, get it. See, my friend has his own house. He's a great guy. They have chemistry. But she won't leave the engaged person because they've been together for years. They're scheduled to be married. Their parents have some money on the line for the marriage, and she doesn't want to disappoint her parents.
Well, look, dude, your parents. Obviously, as a kid, you always want to make your parents proud, make your parents happy. But you can't. Not knowing that family dynamic, because who knows how the parents are when they brought her up. Right. If they've pressured her to do, maybe to go to school for a certain career choice, and she didn't really want that.
Yeah, we don't know the
dynamic. Instead of being a teacher, and she wanted to be, a marine biologist or something, and your parents push you into that. Your parents really got to realize that it's your life. You have to live it. Yeah. You want what's best for your child, but you also want to respect it the way that they're doing.
Right.
So the only thing is, you want to steer them in a direction from out of a wrong way. Yeah. If as long as they're going in a good direction, let them do what they want. Let them step back and say, give them trust, give them the ability to, walk on their own 2 feet and find their own self. Obviously, yes, children want to make their parents proud all of the time and don't want them to be upset or anything.
But ultimately, if you're a parent, you would assume you want your kid to be happy.
Yeah.
And if they come to you and say, you know what, I know that, we're supposed to be married and you've got some money on the line here for the wedding, but I'm just not happy and I don't love this guy.
Here's the thing. it doesn't matter because that money will always be there for whoever the person she's happy with.
Yep.
So you can't look at that either, because those parents, if they're good parents and want the best for her, meaning they're not trying to actually push her in a direction, she's just making this clout in her head.
That's what's happening, I think.
Again, because like I said, I don't know who this person is, and I don't know any of it.
Yeah, and I'm only getting one side of the story from my friend, but he's an awesome guy, and I just want him to be happy. And the thing is, when you meet someone who you have chemistry with their sparks,
is she cheating on this person?
Yeah,
like physical and emotional, or so I don't understand why they're still together then.
Right,
like that relationship.
Exactly.
It doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
I mean, do you think something's going to change once it's married? Because it's not.
No.
The only thing is going to be more complicated because now you have to go through a divorce.
Exactly. And you're probably going to get a
share
house.
Things, like any asset you have to share now and dissolve it.
Or you're going to be in a relationship where you're just unhappy for the rest of your life with your partner. Mm-hmm. And also the other thing that really,
miserable.
The other thing that really sucks about it is it's really hard to meet someone who you have a spark with, who you have feeling, and that's rare.
To a point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's to a point. I mean, I think there's a lot of people out there who can, get together and be in a relationship,
sure.
but there's a small percentage of those people that would be like more meant to be with each other, like complement each other very well. In all aspects of life, not just a few.
Yeah.
So
but I mean, when you have feelings for someone and fireworks are going off, and I mean, that's only happened to me a couple times in my life. It's rare. Mm-hmm. So if you find someone like that, then you need to ditch whoever you're with and go be with the firework person and try to hold on to that as long as you can.
But
I think
the thing is, the fireworks only last for so long.
That's right.
And then once you get into that different settled stage, that's when the real relationship actually begins.
For sure. Yep, the honeymoon is over, as they say.
Yeah. So you're actually like really, I mean, and the thing that kills me is like people who get together and they've been dating for like 6 months and then move in together. And then 6 months later, they're engaged, and half a year later, they're married. And then another half a year later, they're talking about having kids already. Yeah. And it's like, you don't even know that person yet.
Yeah.
And the problem is, it's all this instant gratification. Like, I could go on Amazon, purchase something on my phone, and have it free 2 days shipped.
Yep.
Or I can go and grab something at the store and have it immediately gratified if I've been thinking about it for a while.
Yep.
But yet that feeling fades over time. Like, you get that endorphin trip, but then all of a sudden it starts fading because like it doesn't really add the value you want. And then all of a sudden the new shiny thing comes out. And that's the thing. Like, a relationship, especially between two people, it's work and it takes a long time. And it's funny that because arranged marriages are usually the marriages that work out the best.
That's so weird.
And you know why? It's because they're like predetermined. So,
but is it because it's so young? Like, I have a relative.
No, I think that they find the way to make it work. Like,
that's what I mean. But
like,
also, they're young.
No, because some people are older.
Oh, they are? I thought arranged marriages are like when you're like 18, this is your husband or wife, and it's, what's really interesting.
It's usually I don't know if it's still the same way anymore, but usually it was an older man and a younger woman.
For sure, yeah, you're right.
That was usually the typical. I don't know if it's changed or if it maybe it's around the same age or whatnot, but
no, you're right.
I think people just. They made it work because, one, it was the culture that they're in.
Definitely. Like, you have to be with this person.
Yeah, and it's the culture, and that's the whole thing. It's like, I don't want to say it's like you have to be like completely against your will, even though it kind of is. But I think the mentality behind it is, this is the person that I am chosen to be with, and this is the person that is going to be, my husband or wife or whatever it is. And then I have to find the way we have to find the way to come together and make it work. And I think that those relationships, more people bring it to work. And that's just me seeing it from an outside source, not actually ever being in an arranged relationship.
Right. Well, what's
So I
interesting,
can't speak for sure, but
like I have a relative that got married at 18, and they're still together, and there were rough times, and then there were
there's
good
always,
times.
yeah.
But I think that if you're married that young, it just becomes a routine, like, that's part of your life. For me, I've been single so long, I don't know what it would be like to even live with someone on a, like, waking up with them there. Yeah, I don't even know if I could adjust that. I'm institutionalized to be single.
Yeah, but
I
that's
think
the
the
thing.
opposite
Like,
happens when you're with someone that long.
No, because here's the thing: if you really are into somebody and you want to spend your time with them because they make you happy, they give you that endorphin rush, and dopamine and all the good feelings and the butterflies and all that, and it's like, well, then you don't mind that they're sleeping next to you and that you wake up next to them. You enjoy that.
Oh, I would love it.
And then, you kind of, again, get accustomed to the fact that they're there. And then all of a sudden, then you think about moving in together. But yeah, it's still, you got to do it much longer.
Yeah.
Like when you have the choice to be with somebody, you really need to get to know somebody, because it's very easy to walk away and say, I'm done. There's nothing more.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like marriage, nobody looks at marriage as what it actually is anymore. They look at it as this next step in a relationship where it's, oh, we met. Oh, we meet the parents. Oh, we're getting together. Like we're much closer together. Oh, we're moving in together. Oh, we're engaged. Oh, we're married. Oh, we're having kids. It's like this progression of steps that they're trying to take.
Yeah.
When it's like, well, let's prolong these steps.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. You really should get to know this person first.
Yeah.
Like inside and out fully.
For sure.
Before you can make a decision. Hey, yeah, let's move in together.
Yep.
And then once you make that decision and say, hey, okay, cool, we're, so far it's good, then yeah, sure, move in together. But then when you get to that point of marriage, it's not just the next step in the progression. It's the commitment that you're supposed to be making, saying that I will choose only you from here on out.
Yeah.
Even in the good times and in the bad.
Yeah.
In the healthy times and in the not healthy. That's what the vows are all about. That you're going to love and honor that person from that day forward until death do you part.
Right.
Because last time I checked, a divorce is not death.
No.
It's I don't like you, or I cheated on you, or you cheated on
irreconcilable
me, or
differences.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
So when you have the choice to make these decisions, it's easier to make the choice to walk away for whatever reason it is. But again, when you're in a prearranged thing or an arranged marriage or something like that, or even one of the green card marriages, or the mail order brides.
I'm still waiting for mine.
Mail order husband.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for my mail
one
order
of those.
bride. Yeah.
That's more prearranged too. So you're not going in with the choice. You're going in with like almost the choice is almost gone.
Yeah.
Essentially, because it's like, well, I'm in this marriage or going to be in this marriage. Then instead of saying anything but how to make this work, that's all they're saying is how do we make this work?
Yeah, for sure.
So they're looking at it completely different. And that's the whole problem with marriage today. And then also the fact that, there's the religious aspect or the outside aspect versus the contractual governmental marriage, which, if you really want to get in my feelings on that, I think the government should not even be in the business of marriage. It should allow anybody to be married for whatever reason and not worry about, these contractual assets and, dissolving these assets in the event of a divorce or whatever it is. You're making it more complicated, especially when there's children involved, when there is, business or assets involved. It's like, well, you know what? Stop.
Yeah.
You're not in the business of marriage. Get out.
Get
out now.
Yeah.
And I think people should step back to more of the commitment of marriage and what it truly means, not the step progression saying, oh, I moved in with you.
Yeah.
Oh, let's get engaged. Oh, let's get married. Okay, now you want kids? Well, I don't want kids yet.
Well, the other thing is that people are being pressured because of society and the people around them as well. So if you get into a relationship, especially if you're a younger person, you get into a relationship and then your parents are saying, well, when are you going to start when am I going to have grandbabies? And
oh, yeah.
when are you getting married? And they're so used to that progression step. These are the steps. You meet, you fall in love, you get married.
They're in that too.
Yeah.
But the timing has gone faster. And
for sure.
It seems. I mean, obviously we grew up in a certain time.
Yeah.
So that generation prior, I'm not necessarily sure, like, if it is just growing faster, people are more used to the fast pace of
it's
everything.
better than it was, because it used to be like if you're a Catholic, you're Italian Catholic, you don't get divorced.
No, I mean,
it used to be you meet your first boyfriend, your girlfriend, whatever, you marry them.
No, it wasn't necessarily
you're together.
First. It was the fact that there were younger marriage, like people who were getting married at a younger age versus what it is today.
And you don't get married. You don't get divorced. Like you're with that person no matter what. And that's,
if you get married, you don't.
That's
get
100 years ago, but but it's it was the progression.
That was even up to probably like the 80s outlook. And then once divorce started getting more mainstream, that's the whole thing though. Like I said, marriage is a commitment. It's not a step.
Right.
It's a commitment.
That's a good
point. Are
yeah.
you happy with this person?
Yeah.
Could you live without this person, or could you not live without this person? And if you can live without that person, go find somebody who you can't live without.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. But if you find someone like that, then ditch whoever you're with and go after what the person who's going to make you happy. Don't be in a miserable relationship.
I mean, the thing is, you can't take that word for it and for sparks. It's got to be, because you got to plan for after that.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, you got to be happy waking up next to that person even after the fireworks.
Oh yeah, for sure.
After the fireworks show has gone.
Well, if you meet someone who's clearly much better for you than the person that you're with, you should probably go for the better person.
Yeah, but here's the other thing. You're also hearing it one-sided. You're hearing it from the guy that this girl is cheating on with. Yeah. You're not hearing it from the girl herself.
Oh, for sure, of course.
Again, he's probably painting a different picture, the picture that's in his mind.
Yeah, of course.
And
well, there's always two sides to every story.
Oh, absolutely. And knowing her story would be probably put things into perspective differently.
But the other thing, though, well, clearly, if you're cheating, there's definitely something wrong in the first place.
Oh, for sure.
So that's the other thing, though. I thought to myself.
But the problem is, too, cheating happens all of the time.
Yeah, it does.
And even though you might not realize it, even though it could be considered cheating, like the way men and women view cheating is so much different.
Yeah.
Like if a girl breaks down and says, I've been cheating on you, the first thing guy thinks about is, did you fuck him?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So if a guy asks a girl if she has been cheating on him, and she says yes, the first thing he'll ask is, did you fuck him? And so in that aspect, men think cheating is physical. But if a woman asks her man or her husband or boyfriend or whatever, have you been cheating on me? And he says yes, the first thing she'll say back is, did you love her?
Yeah.
So they think of it as an emotional connection versus a physical connection.
Yep.
When men think of it as physical connection versus emotional. So there's that aspect too to it when it comes to cheating. So there's different variations of it.
What do you think would hurt more, getting emotionally cheated on or physically cheated on?
Physically.
Yeah.
But I'm also a guy.
See, I'm on the fence about it. I mean,
because to me, emotionally cheat. See, the thing though is with
like what I mean. What if you're with someone that'll fuck you, but they love somebody else and they're just with you? That's not cool. Like,
No.
what? Could you tolerate the fact that this they're like, oh, it's we're they'll bang
But what
me,
I'm saying, no. But that's the thing. That's not.
I'm in love with Ted.
You're putting it into you're pigeonholing it into one aspect when I'm looking at it from the other side of things. And what I mean by that is that I'm saying if you are in a relationship and a girl says she was unfaithful because she was talking to another person, I don't have a problem with you talking to other people because that's all it is.
Yeah.
I want you to form relationships with other people in terms of friendships, and you share information back and forth, and you are going to be emotionally attached to that person because otherwise you wouldn't be friends with them.
Yeah.
And as long as it remains a friend, like if you think of it as a way of being just friends and that person also agrees that it's just friends, instead of them trying to be like, oh, I want to fuck that person, like most people probably are. But I know that's a gross generalization, but if you're actually doing it that way, there's a big difference. So like, if you are talking to other people, that's fine, but are you sharing things that you should be sharing with me to this person instead?
Yeah.
And I think that's where the issues would start arising. If you're forming and thinking about this person over, me. But if you're fucking that person, that's a whole different thing too.
Well, the reason I asked is because
I don't love him.
Yeah.
I was just...
Well, I had a friend that I got along with his wife great, and he would be extremely jealous because we had the same sense of humor. We laughed about the same things, and when we went out, like we had the same outlook, as much as you can towards life, and we're going out just to have a good time. When we go out places, we want to have fun. And we're trying to enjoy what we're doing, and then we laugh.
But
right?
here's the thing. Now pretend not pretend, but imagine yourself in that guy's shoes. You're seeing another guy come, where you're laughing, you're having fun, and you're thinking to yourself, all this guy wants is to fuck my girl.
That's not what happened. But what happened was...
but that's the underlying...
No.
That
was not the situation.
It doesn't matter. Subconsciously, it will be the situation because that's how guys think.
Well, I get that, but it wasn't that way. But the jealousy...
Again, you're not... But the thing is, you're not looking at it from his point of view.
He did not think that I wanted to fuck his wife. However, what he was jealous about was that I was getting along with his wife better than him.
Well,
and it got to the point
that could
where,
be an aspect too. But
and once I picked up on that, I'm like, I don't know what else to do in this situation. I had to stop going out places with them. And then she got mad. I'm like, look, it's not you. You're great. We have a great time. It's him. He's extremely jealous whenever we go out. For example, I let her sit in the front seat of my car one time.
The big thing is, if he's mad, he should work a little harder at a relationship with his wife.
100%.
The big thing is, people aren't static, or people are static. They're not. Wait, static?
Non-static? Fluid?
People change,
people do change.
People grow, people like new things, your tastes change. You should always get to know the person you're with. You should always date the person you're with and continue to get to know them because,
that's what I mean.
What they like this year is going to be different than next year. And, the following year and the following year and continuing in old age and all that. So this dude should have stepped it up and continued to work at the relationship with his wife instead of just falling into this, easy way. Oh, this is my wife and blah, blah, blah.
That's what happened. And that was my question. Is that what happens when you get married young? If you're in your early 20s and you just get into a routine.
I think that can happen to anybody.
Yeah, for sure.
No matter what age you're at. The thing is, I think it takes the right person or the right mentality or the right education.
Or maturity, really.
No, because people can be mature, but they just don't understand that another person is static. Like it changes. They're not going to be the same person as the day you met them. Yeah. They're going to grow, they're going to change, and you should continue to get to know them. Well, so you need to put in the effort to continue that relationship so it's ever growing. And you know what? Do things that person likes just because they like to do it.
Yeah.
Not because or don't do it. Don't not do it because you don't like to do it. I know that sounds really weird, but if let's say your friend, if she, out of the two friends, let's say if she liked going to baseball and you were bored out of your mind going to baseball, but she loved it.
Oh, you do it.
Go to the goddamn game.
That. He was doing a lot of stuff for her, but the problem was when we were all together, I laughed, we had a good time, and he was left out, and that's where the jealousy came in.
Yeah,
and it got so bad, and it just had to be like, okay,
you gotta realize that certain people mesh together differently.
Yeah.
And each person is going to have a different outlook and a different way of, because of just everything before that moment.
Yeah.
Who they are, how their makeup is, their personality. They're going to mesh differently. Like, you're not always going to have the best relationship with your significant other as another person might with your significant other.
Yep.
But if your significant other continues to choose you, embrace it, enjoy it. Allow the friendship to be there.
So I put myself in that shoe where, like, okay, could I be going out with my friend who's my buddy, but watch him get along with my wife better than me? They're laughing and having a good time and skipping tra-la-la. And I don't think that...
I mean, in that aspect, yes, maturity is a big thing.
Yeah, it does take some real, insight to just be like, okay, they're laughing and have a good time. Well, I got to step up my game. If I got to, if I have a problem with this, then I got to step up my game. But the minute that I realized that there was a jealousy factor, I took myself out of the friendship. Like, whenever they called me we were going ice skating and doing stuff, I'd be like, I can't go until I find someone else to go with. What I thought was that I was like a third wheel.
Yeah, but
and then they're like, well, that's stupid. Then she got mad at me.
The problem though is if you're also in the mentality where it's like, I got to find somebody else. But here's the thing, that
I thought it would just take the pressure off the situation.
Yeah, but that dynamic won't change because you and this girl will still continue to get together and have the same type. So now not only will it be
two people jealous,
a pain in the ass, but maybe those two people will get together and like conform. Or maybe that new person would join in on the who knows? I mean, the dynamic though isn't going to change where he's not going to have that problem.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in that aspect, yeah, it's like, all right, well, if you're going to have this problem, again, it's coming down to the opportunity cost. And if if it outweighs, if the jealousy outweighs the goodness of the other relationship, like which one's more, are you going to have more value added to your life, or are you going to be negatively affected by the dynamic that's introduced between the two of them?
It sucked because they, a lot of good things, did a lot of stuff, went on a lot of adventures, did a lot of things, and it sucked to have to lose that friendship because of jealousy factor.
Yeah, but as one door closes, another one opens.
Well, then I started going to this Cards Against Humanity fun things to or fill the hole in my life. It's a lot of fun.
So there's a lot. Yeah, I mean, our life takes us in many different directions away from what we thought or conceived it would be.
For sure.
So we don't necessarily know where life is going to take us or any of that.
Nope.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of figuring it all out and rolling with the punches. Riding the wave.
Should we change the subject to something else?
Yeah, there's something I want to tell you.
All right, I'm ready.
So, last week when we talked about that study with the wallet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for anybody who's listening, why don't you fill us in on this study, give a brief synopsis.
All right.
For anybody who may not have listened to last week's episode.
Group of scientists went and had wallets with the amount of $13 to $99 in a wallet. Some of them had a little bit amount of money. Some of them had a significant amount of money. And then there was a key and a contact card that had a person's email address on it. And I believe what they weren't leaving it out. I believe they were handing it in places like a movie theater, a bank, a restaurant, and saying, I found this wallet, and handing it in to someone. And then they were doing a study to see who actually responded on the email address. Hey, I found your wallet. And they differentiated between the countries that they were in and whether there was money returned or not. Now, the interesting thing was that people returned the money more and returned wallets with money in them more than with just a wallet without money. And I thought it would be the opposite. Everyone thought, well, you're getting your wallet back with no money in it. But for some reason, the wallets that were left with money were returned more often than wallets that didn't have money, that just had a key and some business cards and a contact in it. And also, the money was returned in the wallets more often than not either, which was very interesting. So that's the story. And I think there was like 17,000 wallets or something left. With a good number, so it wasn't just a one.
Yeah, it was a big study.
Yeah, across countries.
So now, do you remember what you asked me?
Would you return the wallet?
Yes.
Yeah.
And what was my answer?
You said definitely I would, with the money in it, for sure.
And we went through a couple different scenarios.
Yeah.
Do you remember each of the scenarios that we talked about,
no.
or at least a couple of them?
Catch me up.
No, I'm just asking.
No, I don't remember them.
Okay, well, I said I would return the wallet no matter what.
Yeah.
So here's the crazy story. This morning, I'm going with my girlfriend to breakfast, as we do every Sunday morning for brunch. And I think I'm looking down at my phone or something. I look up just by chance or whatever, look up and out, and something caught my eye where I'm like, oh my God, is that a wallet that was laying on the side, like literally in the middle, like on the side of the street?
What?
So I'm like, dude, pull over. And I'm like, I think that was a wallet. Pull over and let's try to get this back to the person. Or at least see if that was a wallet, because like it was so fast that I couldn't really, like, it just had that mind, when you look at something so quick and your mind just associates something, even though when you look back at it, it's really not that. So it was literally like that quick of a like split second. And she's like, no, I'm not stopping. And I'm like, what the fuck? So then I threw like this little fit, and I'm like, no, we need to like fucking turn around, like, and whatever. And so I'm like, well, when we come back, you need to stop right here so I can see if it's a wallet or not. And if it is, then we'll go from there. So she's like, okay, that's fine. So we go back, or eat brunch, go back, and come up to where it is. And yes, it's a wallet. She's like, oh my God. And so I'm like, fucking pull over right now. And so we pulled over. I walked across the street, picked it up. The only thing that was in it was a business card for a local area place, a ID, and insurance card. And I'm like, well, there's nothing really of value in this, but there is the ID and there is the health insurance card. And, health insurance cards you kind of need them. And, if you got to get replacement things for that, it can cost money.
The driver's license for sure.
Like the driver's license is going to cost you money. And then even a health insurance card, I think, is like $5 for replacement now. So I'm like, there was nothing else in the card. So no money, no cards, nothing. And the wallet was like half bent because I think somebody must have like ran it over or something. But the person wasn't that far away. It was maybe like 5-minute drive. Well, maybe a little bit more. So it was on the other side of the town where we were. So I'm like, all right, well, we're going to go back there and take them back and return the wallet to the person. So yeah, we ended up going right then and there to that address, and I put it in their mailbox, like in where the paper goes, not to the actual mail, but where the paper goes. Yeah. Put it in there, and then we just went back.
Awesome.
So yeah, I put my money where my mouth is,
so crazy.
Saying that I would absolutely return a wallet, and because I saw that on the side of the road. And there's nothing in it except for those two things, and like I said, some business card or something for I don't even know what it was, but yeah, made sure it got back to the right person. That's so crazy.
I can't believe how we talked about it and then it happened.
Yeah,
that's so weird. Unbelievable.
So here's the thing. Another thing. So yeah, but and then we can go back and talk about that if we want.
All right.
But here's the thing. So you and I were talking about this.
Oh, yeah.
This whole thing with if your phone actually hears what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I've come up with the right term that I want to use, which I don't want to say it right now.
All right.
But it's one of those things that you use in the summer.
Okay.
And it's about this big.
All right.
And it's hollow on the inside.
Yeah, I'm already picking up what you're putting down.
Okay. And you put stuff in it.
Yep. And you need some kind of H2O that is in a solid form.
Yep.
There. I get it. Yeah.
Yep. So that's, and because we didn't discuss this before and our phones are actually sitting right here.
Yeah.
So we're going to start bringing up this, if you haven't figured it out what it is yet, we're going to start using this word and we're going to be like, oh, we need this. And it's just going to come up randomly. And this is our task for today, the rest of kind of today.
Right.
And we're going to see if our phones pick this up.
All right.
Now, I have an iPhone.
Yeah, I got the Android.
You have an Android.
Yeah.
iPhone has a little bit better security behind
for sure
what is listening and what's not.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also on the Apple side of things, not necessarily, Facebook or Amazon or any of these other platforms that you download and put on your phone.
Yeah.
So we're going to start using this term and see if these things are going to pick up. Now, have you said that word or hinted at that word in the last few days, weeks, months? Okay.
Nope.
I haven't either. Right. So that's the big thing I wanted to make sure is that we haven't discussed that yet, because I don't want our results skewed. Yeah. So, Aaron, did you see the new cooler that's out? That oh my God, what's the?
Was it an Igloo cooler?
No, what's the really good one? Like the $400 one that you can get at like Gander Mountain.
Yeah, those are not
the Yetis.
Yetis. Yep, Yeti cooler. Yep.
Dude, have you seen those fucking coolers? Those things are insane. I wish I had one.
For $400, does it freeze and make my drink for me?
No, but it's like
it's a really good cooler.
Yeah. Like it'll hold a lot and for a long time.
Now, do you think the Yeti cooler is the best choice, or is there an Igloo cooler? There's other types of coolers.
I don't know. There's a lot of coolers. Actually, there's a couple of There's a cooler. I forget the name of the company that came out. That's very similar to a Yeti, and it's like very, very comparable, and it's like a quarter of the cost. So like the $400 cooler, you're spending $100 instead, which I think is a little better. And with these hot summer days, especially the cookouts that are coming up for the 4th of July. Yes, we have recorded this. It is June 30th. It's the last day of the month.
Yep.
You probably won't hear this until probably like August. I don't know.
Yeah.
How are we uploading? We have like 6 or 7 podcasts that we have already.
Put them all up there.
So are we going to put them all up and get like 6 or 7 up there and then just continue?
Yeah.
Or are we just going to throw one up per week and then have a few on hand in case something happens, like a winter storm?
Yeah.
Or, we're out with our new cooler that we have to buy.
Yeah, we're
at
out
a cookout.
Yeah, we're out
or at the beach.
Yeah, I couldn't record the podcast because I had to use my cooler.
Yeah,
the new Yeti cooler that I got, which is great.
Well, we need to buy one first.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I don't have a cooler that I need. Like,
I don't have a cooler either, and I need a cooler.
I have like this little cooler.
Me too.
But I need a bigger cooler.
I need a bigger cooler.
I need one of the big coolers. Yeah. But one of the things I need, which would be really nice, is like they got the wheels on it and you can like lift it and it's almost like a luggage. Like that would be perfect.
Good cooler.
So anybody who's paying attention right now, we are just randomly talking about stupid shit.
Yeah.
And like I said, we want to see what's going on with the phone. So next week when we record, we're going to share our results to see if anything pops up on Facebook or Twitter.
They
or
categorically
any social
deny.
Media.
They categorically deny that they're listening to your voice.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So what? And the reason why this we do this is because everybody talks about what is going on here. And there obviously is something happening.
Yep.
And the question is it in their terms of service somewhere?
Yes.
Now, the FB says, oh, we don't record anything.
Mm-hmm.
We don't listen.
Sure.
But the third-party ads could be using a software that is in some way, shape, or form.
It's so creepy.
But the crazy thing is, yes, last week when we were talking, and then all of a sudden I go on that, and my feed is the first thing that pops up on my feed was not an advertisement for something, but it was in exact conjunction of what we were talking about.
It's so suspect.
And it was from, and the crazy thing is, it was somebody wrote that comment out, and the meaning of the comment was coincided exactly what we were talking about.
Yeah.
And this is now something that I have a bunch of people on my friends list, and I only see like a small smidget of people because that's how the algorithm works.
Yeah.
But I saw this person, which if I've seen any of their posts ever in my life, I would be surprised because I don't even remember being friends with this person.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it pops up and it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. It's so
and
suspect.
Again, like I said, this is something that somebody wrote out. This isn't like an advertisement that just pops up. This is like, we were talking about it.
Yeah.
And hold on, because we're in it, I actually gotta, but I'm going to go back and see what it was. Don't give dead air. Talk.
So you do this real rideshare stories that I'm interested in. It's real rideshare stories, and you can go to YouTube and check out real rideshare stories. That's very interesting.
Yes.
So that's
my YouTube channel. Yeah. Oh, yes. So we were talking last week on the dangers of 5G.
Oh, yeah.
And this person, it literally popped up first. I mean, you could see my stories right here.
Yeah.
And they shared a news article from Gaia.com, and this friend, I didn't even know who it was. Like, I didn't even know I was friends with them. I had to like literally click on their thing and be like, who are you? Because I don't even know, like I said, I've never seen them pop up in my feed before.
Yeah.
And then boom, first thing that pops up, it says, the news article name was "Scientists Keep Warning About the Dangers of 5G. Will we listen?"
Yeah.
And then her post is, "Keep on campaigning against, keep educating. Many cities have succeeded to keep their space free of 5G. We can too." And so it's like I said, this is not an advertisement. This is actually somebody sharing a post because they have a concern of 5G.
Sure.
And like I said, I have never seen that person pop up. I didn't even know I was friends with this person.
Well, that's what's weird about it.
And it was the first thing that popped up on my feed.
So we're talking, for
And
people who
it's
are
like-
listening, we had an in-depth conversation about this 5G network. And
It was the ending of, it was around the end of last week's podcast that we were doing.
Yeah, we talked about 5G affecting weather satellites. We looked up article. We talked about it for about a half an hour. And because of that article, I have to go home and fashion my tinfoil hat so that the 5G signal doesn't fry my brain.
We need to fashion a tinfoil.
We really do.
Like cell phone cover.
So you're telling me, and when I got home, I got this text that after we talked about the 5G network for a half an hour,
screenshot that I sent you.
All of a sudden, the very first thing that you see when you log into your book is this 5G article.
Yep.
Now,
but again, like I said, most of the time when you talk about things, it pops up in advertisements. It doesn't pop up in your posts.
Yeah, it's weird.
From somebody who posted it.
Yeah.
And here's the crazy thing. The post was 15 minutes. So I sent it to you at 11:50.
Yeah.
I took the screenshot at 11:50.
Yeah.
So it was 15 minutes before that.
Yep.
So it would have been 11:35 when they posted this.
But it's a random person that is not...
random person that I don't ever interact with. Like I said, I didn't even know I was friends with this person. I had to literally pop up or hit their name and see if I was friends with them because I didn't even know. and apparently we are friends, and I don't even know, like, we have a couple mutual friends, but again, I never interact with their posts. They never interacted with my posts, and their article that they shared, which we were talking about 5G, pops up and says, oh, here it is.
Now, see, is it an ironical coincidence, or how about what
No,
happened
I think
to
that
me?
that's, I mean, that's not advertising. That's just, is that coincidence? I don't think so.
Well,
I think that's literally Facebook listening to
I
it.
went on to a web page to check out how much Invisalign cost, because I had bottom braces, and I had regular braces when I was a kid, but I had bottom braces about 9 years ago. And then I thought that,
So you're let's just speed. So you're looking to see if Invisalign was there, and then now you're getting blasted with Invisalign stuff.
well, I wanted to see if Invisalign, I didn't know, could be the same cost as regular braces. So I'm like, okay, well, why wouldn't I just get Invisalign then? Who wants iron in their mouth, you know? So
Especially
I wanted to
at
see,
your age.
Yeah, of course. So then I went on one of the websites, I don't know, and then I got in the mail, I got a postcard to sign up for Invisalign. So it's like creepy to where, like, how is it a coincidence? But
You know, I
never gotten an
don't,
advertisement for Invisalign before in my life until I went onto that website.
I don't.
Very creepy.
I mean, they could use cookies to track.
Yeah.
And they could send. I mean, they could be mining data from
It's
you.
probably an ironical coincidence, but who knows?
But see, I don't want to quote, or I don't want to say that I received something like that too, even though I didn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude. So once I finally buy the cooler,
Yes.
where do you want to take it first? And do you want to test it? Because like I said, I have my little cooler.
Yeah.
But I want to actually use. I want the Yeti.
Yeah.
I want this Yeti cooler.
Yeah.
And I want to get it.
Yeah.
I want to get it soon.
Yeah.
What do you want to test with it and see how it works?
Well, we need to take the cooler to somewhere that's cooler, conducive. Most people take it to camping, but I think taking the cooler
taking
to the
it
beach
to the beach in the
Yeah.
direct sunlight is
Yeah.
going to be the best.
for the Yeti cooler.
Yeah.
And we could even do a comparison between Igloo coolers and Yeti coolers, because we could get both coolers.
I want to take my little crappy cooler that I have, the little tiny one,
Yeah.
and then I want to take when I get the Yeti.
Okay.
I want to check that one out.
All right.
This podcast is not sponsored by Yeti.
No.
If Yeti is listening and they want to sponsor, hey, hit us up at therealanytimepodcast@gmail.com.
Yep. It is the Real Anything Podcast.
The
at
Real
gmail.com,
Anything, yes.
Which I said the Real Everything Podcast, but it's the Real Anything
Yeah.
Podcast at gmail.com.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yes, this podcast is not sponsored by Yeti.
No.
We're
We're just doing this for experimental purposes. Yep.
Yes. So
Not sponsored by Yeti.
And,
Not Yeti cooler or Igloo cooler.
I hope that when I get my Yeti, once I get it, which I want to order it really soon.
Now, which website are you thinking of ordering it from? Because there are several.
I'm not sure.
Are you going for the giant?
I'm going to see whatever gives me the best deal.
Okay. Or you could just go to yeti.com to order your cooler.
Yeah, but usually those are going to cost more because they always do it at suggested retail price
That's
instead
why the
of.
behemoth is winning. We all know who the behemoth is because they're.
So I think that I'm going to do whatever one gives me the best deal. So if there's something where I could find it for $300 instead of $400, I think
The
I would
Yeti
be
cooler?
inclined. Yes, for the Yeti cooler, I believe I could probably get that one. But then we can get there's those styrofoam crappy ones, like the one or a couple time use that you could get at like Wegmans.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to get one of those, and then we can test it and see which one's the best.
You should see if you could get. This actually is maybe a step in the right direction. There's like biodegradable coolers now that are like the cheap ones that are the styrofoam, but to save the environment, they're like made out of cardboard. I wonder if they
really
work.
cool.
That's what we're gonna have to do the experiment.
And
we'll
then
see how the
what
cardboard.
happens when the ice melts?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
I mean, will the bottom just give out?
That's what I think happened. Yeah. So you're planning on ordering this new cooler right away, though. You need a Yeti new cooler
soon,
right away.
yeah.
Okay.
Within
you're
the week.
Gonna order
Within the
it.
week.
All right. So you're planning on ordering the cooler new.
Yeah.
soon,
Hopefully,
right away.
I can find it.
Okay.
Pretty easily.
All right. And then we'll do the experiment.
Yep. And then we will let you know next week's results.
All right. We'll see how you feel about this. Are you ready for a change of subject to see what you
I'm
think?
ready to go to the bathroom. So if you would like to continue talking on whatever topic,
All right.
and then we can come back and discuss
All right. So, listeners, you can find the podcast, The Anything Podcast, anywhere where podcasts are going to be distributed. We are probably going to be distributed on iTunes, which I hear is going away soon. So we'll have to figure out what the new platform for that is. But you can find the Anything Podcast on where you get your other podcasts. We are going to be publishing soon. The 4th of July is coming up. So hopefully you'll be listening to this soon. And happy 4th of July to everyone. You can email the realanythingpodcast@gmail.com with any concerns, or if you'd like to sponsor or do anything. We always need things for the podcast. We need cameras, equipment. We need sponsors. So you can do that. You can always, or just email what you think to the Real Anything Podcast if you have a topic that you'd like to talk about. You can also check out Real Rideshare Stories on YouTube. It's very exciting, and you should definitely check that out. Real Rideshares on YouTube. You'll probably also be able to find the Anything Podcast on YouTube soon, which I just thought that we have to make an Anything Podcast YouTube channel.
I already have the Gmail account, so it's fine. Hence, we have the Real Anything Podcast at gmail.com, and I did that specifically so YouTube. But all I have to do is just hit create a YouTube channel. Right. I didn't want to do that yet until we actually are ready to upload, only because I don't want it to sit there in the crazy cyberspace of nothing. Yeah. So actually, you want to know something interesting?
All the time.
I started Real Rideshare Stories, the channel, July 10th. So technically the 1 year anniversary of when I actually started the channel, when I opened the channel, began it, will be very close to almost a year from now.
Yes.
Or from previously.
Yes.
But I didn't upload any content until October 3rd. So it's still a couple of months away for the content anniversary, but I actually started the channel itself in August of last year. Or I'm sorry, in July of last year.
Exciting.
Yeah.
That's very exciting. What we're going to do. All right. First thing, I forgot to mention the last time. So I go for a hike because apparently...
Did you bring your Yeti cooler?
I did not bring my Yeti cooler on the hike.
Did you see those Yeti cups?
Yeah.
Those fucking giant.
Yeah.
Dude, do you know how expensive? They're like $70. Yeah. Holy shit.
For what?
I don't know. They're vacuum sealed though, so they're fucking really nice.
Yeah.
But dude, they'll keep shit cold for like 12 hours or something. Yeah. Fucking crazy or hot.
Yeah. Nothing against Yeti. The Yeti cup that I have looked into ordering, the Yeti cup. I was going to order a Yeti cup.
I still want the cooler. Sale.
Yeah, the Yeti coolers, indestructible probably.
You're paying for the YETI.
Yeah, Yeti.
That's all you're paying for.
You definitely are.
I mean, I could literally get one that's like a knockoff. That's the same exact thing. It's just a different name.
The cups are super expensive, but also any kind of vacuum sealed flask, most of them are pretty pricey.
Not really.
Some of them.
Surprisingly not.
Yeah.
Because you could pick those up for like $20.
Yes, that's the cheapest ones I could find.
It's literally the same thing. Yes. It's vacuum sealed too.
Yeah, those are the cheapest ones I could find. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, and that's reasonable.
And you know what that is? That's the company that makes all of them, and then the Yetis should put their name on it. Actually, I don't want to say that because I don't know if that's true or not.
But a lot of things are like that people don't realize.
Yep.
So I went on my hike. I did not bring my Yeti cooler, or what would have been really great.
I know, because we have to buy it.
That Yeti cup. It would have been nice to have on a hike. I went on my hike.
You know what's actually really good when you hike? You know the little backpack with the water?
The camel.
Yes,
camel
those
bag.
Are really good.
I wanted to get one of those too.
They're like $40 online.
Send one. Well, email us, the Real Anything Podcast, if you want to send us a camel bag or a Yeti to try out. We'll try it out for you.
I actually have one.
Yeah. Oh, you do? Mm-hmm. And you really like it?
You know, I haven't used it in a little while, but
does it hold enough liquid for you?
It depends on how long you're going out for. Like if you're going out for a while, I mean, I drink a lot of water to begin with, so I forget what size. What size is it?
One of them was a couple liters that I was looking at.
I think it's a 3 liter. So I mean, 3 liters.
That's enough if you're going on a couple-hour hike. I could have used that. I could have used the Yeti cooler, a Yeti tumbler or cup on my hike, or I could have definitely used the Camelback.
Well, we're gonna get the cooler.
All right, cool. Definitely ordering the Yeti cooler we want to order it soon, right away.
Yeah.
Order it, right. Order the Yeti cooler.
Hopefully I can do like a pickup in store somewhere
Okay.
and then get it for the 4th.
All right, good.
Dude, did you hear it's going to be like 90 degrees here?
Really?
Yeah. And then it's crazy because they were talking about rain and then it switched to possible isolated thunderstorms, which has been like that for like the last few years.
It's been beautiful.
So it's going to be fucking gorgeous out. It's going to be hot.
What are you doing for the 4th?
The actual, like the day or at night?
Well, at nighttime for fireworks and stuff.
Going to the fireworks.
Where? Which ones?
The one in this town.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are they good?
Pretty decent.
I love fireworks. I
It's
want to
just-
see some good ones.
Well, the day before I'm going down to Sunset. Sunset's got a Cabana Sam's.
Yeah.
They put off a really good show. I think it was like last year was like 45 minutes.
Wow.
Actually, so the township Silver Creek, you know that one? You can, where I am, you can watch the show going off at Silver Creek way down the lake, and you can watch the ones going off at Cabana Sam's.
That's awesome.
And the ones at at Silver Creek start later and end earlier than the ones at Cabana Sam's, because
kidding.
Cabana Sam's does it for like seriously 45
Wow.
minutes or
Maybe
something.
I should
It's
go
a
out to
long
that.
show,
Yeah, maybe I should
and
go
it's
to that one.
really good.
Yeah, I love fireworks.
So a friend of mine's got a property right on the beach there, and she always has a big party every year.
That's cool.
So we're doing that on the 3rd,
That'll be fun.
and then the 4th is just going there, hanging out, because I know quite a few people that, and then they got the beer tent right there. So, you go drink, have a few drinks, enjoy, have some fun. And then, usually head out to a friend's house for a couple more drinks or something.
Yeah.
Obviously taking an Uber or Lyft or having a designated driver.
Of course.
Because there's no drinking and driving allowed ever.
Nope.
Do not drink and drive ever.
Yep. And if you don't have an Aaron in your life who doesn't drink,
My public service announcement.
If you don't have an Aaron in your life who doesn't drink to drive your drunken asses around, then you definitely need to get Lyft or Uber, or find an Aaron. So I was on my hike, and
Yeah, back to the hike.
there was a park ranger, and
Where were you hiking?
at the Eternal Flame.
Okay.
So there was a park
Chestnut
ranger.
Ridge.
Yes, Chestnut Ridge. There was a park ranger there, and she just, as I was walking by, said, "Hey, look, some kind of bird." I don't remember the name of the bird that she was watching make a nest. Now I'm a friendly person, so I started talking to the park ranger and watching this bird make a nest. And we started talking about evolution. Remember the conversations that we had about evolution? Very interesting. But here's what I found out that I didn't have any idea that I thought you should know. Did you know that blue jays are not blue? Did you know that? I didn't know that.
It's just like blue eyes aren't really blue either.
That's what my friend said.
Yeah. Did you know that all eye colors are technically brown? It's just variations of brown, which
What?
look blue, which look green.
Okay.
So
Now,
it's
what
actually
about hair
all-
color? Is the same thing true with hair color?
Have you ever seen somebody with blue hair?
Well, yeah, but not real blue hair. But no.
So that's-
so is all hair white?
No, that's
Okay.
why there's. I mean, does your hair look white? Does
No.
No, it's brown, it's black,
Okay.
it's blonde, it's strawberry, it's
So it's not just
There's
the
different
refraction of the
colors.
light.
there's different colors of,
Okay.
of your hair. Yeah.
Because that's what. So
I mean, when the pigment and the dyes kind of go away and you get the pepper or the salt, the salt and pepper look, and then you finally just get the salt look.
yeah. I don't have any of those. I don't know what you're talking about.
I can see him right
Look
here.
away.
Look at that's the lighting in here. I can see your. I don't have it.
No, not me.
That's why I want my blue Yeti.
Yeah.
I
You
mean,
definitely
my
need
Yeti
a
cooler.
Yeah, it keeps you young for sure.
Because I can take that places and I feel young again.
Well, I didn't know that blue jays were not blue. I did not know that they're brown and that the
Well,
the light refracts off of their.
It's a type
feathers.
of brown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's an optical illusion that I learned about. Who knew? That was very interesting.
Yep.
I didn't know that, and it was very exciting to learn that. So then I started looking at other things.
What's black and white and red all over?
The newspaper.
Yep.
It's a good one.
Dun dun.
Yep. What's
Oh Jesus.
green then red then green then red then green then red? We got to guess.
I don't
Green
wanna-
then red. Goes around in a circle real fast. Green then red. Give up.
Sure.
A frog in a blender.
I think it just goes green and then red.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I don't think it goes back to green again.
Yeah. What has four wheels and flies?
My asshole.
Probably right now. A garbage truck. Yeah. All right. Enough with the dumb dad jokes.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I didn't know that. So that's something that you know now, that Blue Jays aren't blue. And then in other news, are you ready for some other news?
No.
There's good news, though.
Strike me.
All right. We'll see how you feel about this. Ooh, dude, the shock mic worked pretty good.
Do I feel the Iran deal was a good deal or a bad deal? And
We can talk about just that in just 1 second. Did you know that churches in the United States have tax exempt status? And
Yep.
If you're a church, you don't have to pay taxes.
as long as you qualify.
Yeah. Well, right now, the
Church of Scientology is tax exempt, which I don't know how.
Yes, exactly.
Because they think that there's an alien.
Yes.
But then again, the Mormon religion too.
Well, right now there's better news.
Seeing stones.
The Satanic Temple is now a church.
I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. So now
That's
the
not
Satanic
new.
Temple is tax deductible, but they were never tax deductible. They were never recognized
Tax
as a
exempt.
church before, and tax deductible. If you donate to the Satanic Temple, you're tax deductible, and so
No, it's a tax deduction.
yes. So now it makes perfect sense because you can't discriminate. You're not allowed to discriminate. You can't say that the Catholic Church can be tax deductible, but then or tax exempt, but then the Jewish Church can't be tax exempt. So why would you not allow the Satanic Church not to be tax exempt? But the whole thing is ludicrous. Why don't they have to pay taxes? I don't understand.
I don't know. They're multi-billion. Well, I mean, I understand why, because it's separation of church and state and all that crap. But, and the way religion was based during the time of the framework when the Constitution was put into place, and when taxes were put into place, moreover.
But do you think our forefathers foresaw what was happening now, where you have the holy rollers who are just using tax deductible status to just collect all the money?
Taxes weren't around. The reason why the United States became the United States was because they wanted to get away from taxes. There was no taxation without representation. And so there were no taxes.
Yeah.
Like, especially like income tax until like what, 1910 or something like that. It was much later. Whatever the amendment was done, right? What was the amendment for the Constitution that allowed income tax? Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you know what it is?
Well, I'm familiar, but I'm not. I wish that I would have paid more attention to. For some reason, I was always attracted to science. Like, I know that. Yeah.
Okay, so it was the 16th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution allows Congress to levy an income tax without appropriating among the states on the basis of population. It was passed by Congress in 1909 in response to the 1895 Supreme Court case of Pollock versus Farmers Loan and Trust Company. So yes, it was 1909. I was a year off, and it's the 16th Amendment. So damn you, 16th Amendment and the 1895 court case, whatever that was, which I didn't do any research, so I have no idea what it is.
Right.
But I don't want to pay taxes, so fuck all y'all.
See, the whole thing is, I've always had a 10% view, is that, well, I mean, taxes do a lot of good. We have roads and stuff and hospitals.
Yeah. I mean, I get that.
I get the reason for paying for some taxes.
All these backdoor deals,
Yes,
all the bullshit.
that's where I have the
there
problem.
needs to be 100% transparency on what you're doing.
Yeah.
I can understand if you're doing certain projects like black projects or projects that, help with national security that do risk our national security as a country.
Well, it should
or
be
whatever.
general. Like we need
can
this to
understand
build
that.
weapons, but don't tell us what kind of weapons. I get that.
Yeah, I can understand that. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. As long as I can go on and see the balance sheets and see exactly where my money's being spent and what for.
Yeah.
But putting in your friend into office into a position that they're making $218,000 a year on taxpayer money, that's a little bit of a problem.
But what I find more disgusting is people who use religion to collect in dollars. That's who I have the biggest problem with.
Why? You can start your own religion.
I could.
It's not hard.
No, it's definitely not.
Actually, I was in a house that they started their own religion, that they did it in their basements.
Yeah.
And they were the church. So their house was tax exempt and all this stuff was, but they were a real church because I think you only need like 12 people.
Yeah, something like 12 or 15
It's crazy.
or
It's
something.
like,
yeah.
it's insane. So it's like, oh, well, I can make a church. Sure.
What do we believe in this church?
Marijuana.
Okay.
So,
Well, I'm
marijuana
sober.
and
See, it
DMT.
doesn't. I can't join your church then. Can I still be a member if I?
You could be a member.
Okay.
But you have to embrace the marijuana and DMT lifestyle. Not necessarily having to do it,
Okay.
but you have to embrace it.
I definitely will embrace the lifestyle as long as I can remain
So
sober.
that means that's because it's a religious belief. That means it actually curtails the law.
Yeah, for sure.
So I can use weed and DMT
Yeah.
without getting in trouble.
For ceremonial purposes.
And I can make cocoa tea.
Yeah. For ceremonial
Actually-
purposes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But did you know that they actually have
And you like to pray a lot. You celebrate a lot.
I mean, you have to pray 5 times a day.
For sure. Yeah. For sure.
Well, we're going to say 3 times a day.
All right.
But some can pray more than others.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
But did you know that they actually have a tea that is made from the cocoa leaf?
Isn't it
Of
called
cocaine?
Coca-Cola?
No.
It's not.
It's actual
it's a
tea.
tea.
Like you put the leaves into a bag.
You put coca
and then-
leaves in a bag?
Yes. Wow. I just learned about that today. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to try this. But apparently it's actually good for you. And the thing is, it's not processed like cocaine. So it doesn't have the negative effects, but it actually has like a lot of positive effects in it. And it gives you a pretty good buzz, or not buzz, but a pretty good alertness from what I hear.
It'd probably get you going.
So I think I would actually love to try it and see what it's like.
All right. Well,
Because
if you get
it's
some, let me know.
unprocessed, and that to me is, I think, what would be much better.
Yeah.
It's just like weed. It's not processed.
Yep.
It's perfect the way it is, that you don't even have to process it.
Yep.
It's nice and sticky and enjoyable.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, the only thing that they process is when they make it into, like, condense it into an oil and put it into an edible. Like, those things are pretty cool. I'm not going to lie, but yeah.
I'm right there with you. So starting home church. What's going to be the name of your church?
Weed for all.
All right.
No, we're going to say it the Church of Latter-day Weed.
Oh, I love it. All right. Now, the only thing is you need a new G5 private jet. So everyone out there who wants to join the church,
I want
donate
the Honda.
money to get the G5.
Honda, I want that Honda jet. That
Honda
thing's.
jet?
Did you see that thing?
No.
It's freaking insane. It's gorgeous.
Really?
Oh my God! It's so sleek and sexy.
I always wanted to go for a ride in the SR-71. Did you ever see that thing?
Mm-hmm.
That
They
thing's
had it up at the Air Force
Did
Base
they?
when they did a. Yeah, they had the Stealth the day before, the B-2.
Well, the Stealth look cool, but the
Stealth.
SR-71 is the beast.
Dude, you know what's crazy about that? You don't even fucking hear it.
No, I used to live behind the air base. Couldn't hear 'em.
Like you just see this thing flying in the air, and you're like, "What the fuck is that?" It doesn't even make a sound. It's like, what is that?
Nope.
And then, I mean,
Can't
if you
even see
didn't
'em.
know, you wouldn't know. But then all of a sudden, you see it, and it's like, wow.
You can't see them at
And
night.
then if you hear them during takeoff and landing,
Yeah,
though,
they're
they're
super
fucking loud as hell. And same thing with the SR-71.
Oh, that thing.
That thing is so loud.
bet.
Holy crap. Yeah. Like I said, that one, so when they did the air show at the base, they had the day I went, they had the SR-71, and that thing freaking comes in, like you don't really hear it, and then all of a sudden you see it, and it's like, you're like, holy shit. And then it just comes, and like as it lands, and you hear the engines just, they're like, I want to fly. Do not put me in this freaking plane. And then it comes around, and they like shovel everybody away because this thing needs to park in the middle of the fucking crowd. So they like push everybody like to the sides and behind, and this thing's just pulling up, and it's like. It's like, holy crap. And it's like, and then all of a sudden it sits there, and then it's just like the engines calm down, and it takes like a long time for the fucking engine to calm down. But yeah, that thing is fucking pretty badass.
It always amazed me. And the amazing thing is that's like 60s technology too. Could you imagine? And I remember
How fast do they go? Do they go Mach 2?
That thing goes Mach 3,
Mach 3?
I think.
Yeah, that's right. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, it's unbelievably fast. And I read something that they want to build a new one.
Oh,
that goes
with
even
newer
I'm sure they already
technology,
have it. Yeah. I'm sure they already have it. But
But they're going to use a different type of propulsion.
Probably.
So do you know who Bob Lazar is?
Well, did you listen to the Bob Lazar? Did you listen to it?
Well, I'm asking, do you know who he is?
I didn't know who he was until I listened to the cast.
To Joe Rogan's podcast? Okay, no, I'm actually talking about like the documentary.
I watched it.
Okay, you did?
Yes.
So his story came out like 30 years ago.
I remember the story. I didn't know who the guy was.
Yeah, so he was allegedly, or he claims that he worked at Area 51, and he was working on tech that was from, it had to be out of this world because of like anti-gravity, and there was no way that we had the technology to do that or whatnot. And he said things and did things that almost showed that it was like no way he could be lying. Like how he got arrested, like for saying like, go here at this time and you can see these crazy crafts flying through Area 51 because they're doing their test flights and all that. And sure enough, yeah, it showed. And like the people who were there, even though they don't agree on everything or with each other, they agreed that yes, they saw stuff and all this crazy stuff that happened. And then the one time they got arrested and all this stuff, and then the palm scanner and all these things, and it's like, what's your take on that he was working on?
Well, here's what I think, and I've said this before.
Hold on, but actually, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have posed the question just yet. So save that. But so that the thing that he was working on, or claims that he was working on, or allegedly working on, was this propulsion system, I guess you could say, that was anti-gravity or had anti-gravity effects to it, where all of a sudden, hey, here it is. They don't know what it is. They don't know what to do with it. They don't know how capable it is, but it's just this crazy thing that like can lift off, take off, fold space and time apparently around itself. I mean, like, I can't really get into the details too much because I don't really know everything of how it works or whatnot, because I didn't actually study it, but it was like this crazy like type of propulsion that like could lift a craft up and kind of give it like this anti-gravity-esque style thing. So they were working on it, they were testing it and trying to understand how it worked. So that's kind of what they were working on. And if you want to know more, go check out the Bob Lazar documentary that just came out recently. I believe it was within a year. And I believe it just came out. James Corbin was the documentarist person who was maybe the director. Yeah. I believe it's James Corbin or John Corbin, maybe. You look pretty intent. Did you find it or no?
Well, I'm using... Okay, well, first of all, on Netflix, Mickey Rourke is the narrator to this, to the documentary, which I was surprised about.
Yeah, what's it called again?
It says Bob Lazar Area 51 documentary, but I don't see what the name is. Let me use a different search engine that is better.
Use the Google, because it knows all.
That Google guy does know everything.
You know, I really am mad that he took out Jeeves. I like Jeeves. He was cool. You know, he had that Butler style look to him. Yeah. I trusted Jeeves until he did me wrong. And he made me turn into a direction that never existed. Anybody?
Why?
Do they still have Ask.com or Ask Jeeves?
All right, so I guess all it says is Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Flying Saucers. So
yeah,
that might be the...
that's the name of it. It was James Corbin, correct?
Well, that's not what it's not saying. Director Jeremy Kenyon.
Oh my God, you're killing me, man.
Yep.
You're killing me.
I'm not doing good today for sure.
But
Jeremy Kenyon Lockyer Corbell? Jeremy Corbell.
Corbell, that's it, yes.
Corbell.
So Jeremy Corbell. Yep. So yeah,
right. So here's what happened. I watched the Joe Rogan podcast on the YouTube. But you can listen to it as well. I watched it. First he described a basketball half dome that when you put it on this pedestal type thing, it emits a force that he could not grab onto it with his hands. Well, my first question was, okay, well, if you put it on this thing and then you can't grab it with your hands, and no matter what you do, you can't pick it up. How did they get it off the pedestal in the first place if you can't pick it up? That's my first question. But I'm sure that there was a way. So he describes the thing as an anti-gravity unit where when this half basketball, he can't pick it up with his hands. Then he describes 9 different spaceships that they have at a place outside of Area 51 called S5 or something, or SH or something. And he says that he got to go into one of the spacecrafts and that there were no wires and there was
there's no electrical components to it.
And it was just everything was somehow powered by this mystery force.
What we don't want to get into it all. Let them go watch the documentary. But what's your take on that? What do you think?
Well, here's what I think. So I've said this before. I think that life in the universe may exist, but in microbial form somewhere else.
That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking, what do you think about this actual thing that he was working on?
Well, here's what I think.
Telling the truth, or do you think he was lying?
I think he may be telling the truth, or he thinks that he's telling the truth. But if there is something that is what he's describing, it's man-made. I think that human beings made it. I don't believe in anything that comes from outside the realm of human beings on Earth. I think humans made it. If in fact his story is correct, which it does sound believable, I believe that human beings made it. That's what I think. Mm-hmm. That's what I think. And I think he made...
Do you think he's a misinformation agent?
That's a very good question. It does come at a time where it's very tumultuous. Where,
sure.
Yeah.
Close.
Yeah, whatever the word is. It's trying times out there.
Tumultuous.
I don't know. Tumultuous, yeah. It's trying times out there for our country. So when something important is going on that you don't want people to focus on, then you're misdirection and go, oh, look over here. And we got all these aliens invading us.
He's been doing this for 30 years. It's not like all of a sudden this is breaking news. I mean, this is 30 years in the making.
I believe that he believes.
It's somebody who got wind of his story and wanted to make a documentary or an updated version of it. Because I think in the early 90s, there was another one that came out that was his story about everything. Yeah. So I think this one is a little bit different.
I think that he was a young man and he may have... Well, the thing that's weird about it is, first of all, I believe that if you're trying to cover something up, they don't have any records of him, I think, at MIT and at Caltech, right?
But he went there and graduated. And they actually
where are his degrees? Why doesn't he have a degree? That was my first thing. I believe that someone will cover you up. For sure. Delete the record.
I don't remember.
But I never saw the degrees. My first thing would be like, I was there. Here's my physical paper degree. Now, maybe he got lost in a fire. Someone broke in the house and stole it. Who knows?
That's actually very possible.
Sure.
Didn't he also say that there was things that were broken in, or the door was open, and I mean,
they stole his degree.
If you want to disprove somebody, then...
And I don't not believe him. And I believe that if he did go there, bad actors would delete records of him going there, because they did have a record of him being at the Los Alamos. Is that what it's called?
Base, yeah.
At the testing range.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is his name in a phone book there, but they don't have any official records of him being in there. But if he worked there wouldn't be any records anyway.
Yeah, and that was brought forward by somebody else. Yeah. Who worked there.
But that's the only thing that they could find that his name was in a phone book in that area. But if you worked at that propulsion laboratory, you wouldn't, or whatever it was. I'm familiar with I can't remember what they do there now. It's nuclear testing, I think.
I don't remember. But I mean, they do quite a few things there.
Yeah, it's Los Alamos lab. So you wouldn't have a record if you're working on sensitive government stuff there anyway. I get that part of it.
You would, but you just wouldn't be... Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because Area 51 is something...
freaking weird.
Well, have you been paying attention to it since the 90s?
I've been there.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I went there in 2000... When the fuck did I go? It was 2013, maybe? No, maybe sooner than that. It had to have been sooner than that. When the hell was it? No, it was 2009 actually. Yeah, 2009 I was there. And I didn't I mean you so it's weird. It's actually pretty wild because you're in like I was in Vegas, and then you take like a nice little drive into the middle of the fucking nowhere. Nothing is around. I mean, you look around, you just see stuff, mountains and miles away from each other. And when you're coming down the mountain, the one mountain, you see the paved road straight in front of you, and then like halfway, which is still miles and miles away, you see it curve, and you see the paved road continue going in the right hand direction. Which in this case, I don't remember what direction it would have been because I wasn't the one driving. But yeah, you see that, and then you see this dirt road just going straight beyond into nothing, like literally over the horizon line is where you see this thing. And it's absolutely wild because that's the front entrance for Area 51. Like that's to go to the Groom Lake base. And so you get to that point and you could continue straight and you go for a little bit of time, but there's all these these sensors. There's the guys, the camo guys that are sitting there, and I mean they literally know you're coming down the fucking road before you even get to that turn. And it's called extraterrestrial highway. So they make this big play off of it, it's Highway 375 is the actual route number for it. And they like decorate everything, and then they have there's this mailbox that sits there, and like everybody's like, what the hell is this mailbox for? There's nothing around. And like obviously it was put there, like really, come on, there's no fucking reason for it. They're just putting it there as like for whatever reason. There's no reason for it. Like if you're getting mail, you're not getting it to that address. There's not going to be like these fucking guys that are working at the base that are going to come there and get their mail. No, it's going to be delivered to the fucking base. Shut the fuck up. Seriously, pull your head out of your ass. But yeah, there's this mailbox here, and it's like this little site that you can see, and then there's the little Alien Inn, which is like this little I don't know, like restaurant-ish
It's been
place.
in movies. And, you can look it up.
And then they had like this ID4 because Independence Day was shot like right there, and all this stuff. But yeah, I mean, so we had a little kid with us, so we weren't actually able to go in and hike because I want to go hike the mountain and actually peer into it. But we couldn't do that. But what we were doing, like we were there, and in the little Alien Inn is like this little museum. It's got like all the alien shit, and then it's got like what you'd see at like Roswell or something. And then it's actually got like the Area 51 stuff. So like you could see like the pictures of Groom Lake, you could see the satellite photos, you could see like people who actually like took video of it, and you could see all of this stuff. So it was I mean, when you actually see it, it's like, holy shit, like this is, I mean, we took, I don't even remember how many hours it was. I think it was like 2 hours from Vegas or something by driving or whatever it is. So it's not close in any way, shape, or form. And it's the middle of nowhere. And what's crazy about it is, so there's two ways to get there. You can either go by bus or you go by plane. So you don't, I mean, I didn't see the bus, but I've like seen documentaries that had the bus on there. But I've seen the planes, and I've seen them flying in from Area 51 and flying out. Because they go right to McCarran Air Force. Or, I mean, not to McCarran. They go to McCarran International.
Yeah, they have our own terminal there, right?
Yeah. So literally you go in, and I think there's like, I don't know, there's like 3 planes or something that I seen the most. So I was there, and we were going down Las Vegas Boulevard, and it's literally like right there. So you could pull in, and that's the military portion right there. But I forget what they're called, but they're called something.
It's the Janet terminal.
The Janet, yes. Yeah. And all it is literally a red stripe with serial number on it. And it's cool because I actually, when I was in Vegas, couple of years ago, I was staying at the Hard Rock. So it's the Hard Rock Hotel's right here. You have, I forget what the name of the street is, but then the airport is literally right here. So as they're flying in, you see the planes like right there. So I have a really cool shot of one of those planes.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's midair directly over like the Hard Rock sign,
Sweet.
the guitar.
Oh, that's really cool.
So it's actually pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, it's like pretty wild though, because it's nowhere. Like you just are in the middle of nothing, and there's nothing around, and all of a sudden there's this like freaking little fucking alien that it's called that pops up in the middle of nowhere, and it's like, oh, okay. And then you like 20 miles or something, or 18 miles away, that's where Groom Lake base is, and it's like, holy freaking shit. Like it's even at that point it's pretty surreal. And I wish like I would have paid attention a little bit more, but I wish we would have gone up the road to like kind of the gate or close to it, or at least to see like the camo guys, because that would have been pretty cool. Although I'm sure they were probably pretty close to us, we just didn't see them yet.
Of course. They have all sorts of like, they have pretty crazy technology. They know that they know.
Oh, exactly. Dude, they know when you're miles away from the base. They have these like road sensors, and they have like sensors in the in the desert, so they know if there's like a freaking animal that's walking by there. Like I forget what they said that they think that the technology is too, but it's pretty freaking wild.
They have the good stuff, but the whole thing to me is like, that was a government facility where they're testing the cutting edge technology that we have. So to me, I don't believe in aliens. I don't think that they're here, and
I don't think that they're here either, but to say that there's no life form that has gone beyond microbial, I think is absolutely naive to say, because there's so many planets out there, and there's so many planets that are in this inhabitable zone, that I mean, it's very, very few and far between, like distant wise, because there's so much distance between here and the next like planet. So I don't think that we've seen or come across aliens, but there could be aliens that are, I mean, there's so many things that could be like, we could be a zoo. I mean, we could be
well, here's my thing. And I've said this before. I believe that if there is aliens,
I had to find the picture.
That's a plane with a white stripe on it for sure.
No, that's a plane with a red stripe on it.
Oh, it's a red plane with a white stripe? I might be colorblind.
You must be.
It's a white plane with a red stripe.
Yeah.
That's definitely, I've seen these on TV, but I've never seen
anyone
who's had a picture.
I've seen them where they were actually like, I mean, obviously flying here.
Yeah.
Which, it's just the red stripe, and then behind the rear door, below the stripe, is just the serial number. But I've also seen them sitting at the terminal too, when I was going by Las Vegas Boulevard, because they're right there.
So here's my thing. I think that I've said this before on an older podcast that may or may not be uploaded. We'll have to review that one and see how good it turned out. But that was the one we did about aliens was really good. I'll have to find it and listen to it. I think that if there is some kind of life form that's advanced, they're not alive at the same time as we are. So I think that if...
Define what time is.
Well, of course. But what I'm saying is that...
Because there is no future, and the past really isn't... It's everything that happens now.
So my thing is, if there is aliens that have technology that is advanced enough to go faster than the speed of light, or warp time or space somehow to get here to our planet... My other thing is, why would they come here? If they had that kind of technology...
How do you know that we aren't aliens to begin with? Because think of it this way. You know, are you a
Scientologist? I think you might be a Scientologist.
No, but think of it this way. Like, look at us. Look at the human species to the planet.
Yeah.
You know, we come here and we found a way... I mean, we don't really, like, work in with the planet. Like, every other animal... has this more homeostasis aspect to itself.
I disagree.
Than people, because we control everything. Once we started farming and domesticating plants, then we kind of started creating these shelters, and we have these massive cities that we now manipulate the entire earth around us, but yet we use it for its resources and strip it and move on to the next, or just so we don't really fit in with a homeostasis like many other animals do. Besides the virus, but that's a Morpheus Matrix.
I've seen Independence Day. That's a good line in a movie, but that's not how there's a lot of things that take over stuff and kill things. You look at locusts.
No, I'm not.
They'll wipe out anything and then move on.
Yeah, I get that, but they could be in alien form too. But here's the thing: like, why do we get sunburned so easily when we're out in the sun?
That's a good question.
Why do that's the whole thing. Like, why do we have no fur or hair except for on our head and a little bit on arms or around genitalia and stuff like that? Like, evolution. Why do we have no hair compared to every other species?
Evolution, baby.
I mean, there's only a few animals out there that have no hair, and we've manipulated them, like the hairless cat.
There's a lot of stuff that doesn't have hair.
It's evolution. Insects don't count. I'm talking about mammals themselves. Yeah. So mammals, what other animal or what other mammal is out there that, and don't say whale because that doesn't count because they're in the ocean versus.
What about reptiles?
They're not a mammal.
Yeah.
So I'm asking you about a mammal.
Yeah. Who cares? I mean,
I'm asking you specifically about a mammal.
Well, there's a lot of mammals. Who cares? They haven't evolved.
But I'm just saying, but all the other animals out there, they can take the sun much better than what we can. Yeah. We don't get burned, we get burned.
Yeah, because we built shelters.
It's been like that though.
Yeah. Anyway, so back to my
very unique.
So for aliens, I think that
also very frail compared to the rest of
evolution.
I mean, even look at like chimps. Mm-hmm. They say that's our closest thing, or that we've come from that aspect, like the ape and the chimp and all that, but yet they're so much stronger than we ever are. We're very frail when it comes to a lot of things. The question is why?
Because we used our brain to develop tools and shelter. We don't need
DNA.
To be
did we get DNA? No, but even before that, we didn't have shelters when when humanity first began.
Yeah.
There was probably some sort of shelter, but there really wasn't much. Mm-hmm. You might go into a cave or something, but other animal like species in the monkey and ape realm, they don't really have shelter necessarily.
We evolved to have a higher brain capacity than them and used our intelligence over our brawn to succeed, and that's how we got here. That's evolution. But my whole thing with aliens is that, one, I don't think that they're alive the same time that we are. And if there is an advanced species that's able to either warp space to come to Earth from far, far away or go faster than the speed of light somehow, then I think, why would they come here? Surely they would have the technology to just scope our planet out from far away. There would be no need for them to come here. We have telescopes where we could see across the universe. I'm sure they would have a much more advanced technology to be able to 3D scan the planet.
What about what Neil deGrasse Tyson says about the universe? And he says that the universe is so big that there is an exact copy of you in the universe doing the exact same thing down to the exact same second, looking at me the same exact way, talking the same exact thing. And then there's an infinite amount of that. Right. And then there's an infinite amount of variations.
Theory. Yeah, I don't agree with that.
That's an infinite universe. And this is what Neil deGrasse Tyson says, who's a very well-respected...
it's a thought process. It's a thought experiment. There's many of them.
But you can't discount that theory either.
No, I don't discount that.
But even still, even if the universe is finite, there's hundreds of million. There's how many stars just in our galaxy?
1 billion.
So, and then how many planets have they found already in certain star systems? Yeah. So they estimate the planets that orbit suns to be in how many You know, you could probably say, let's just say, be generous and say three planets per every star.
Yep.
So you have 3 billion planets, and yes, some of them are going to be too far away, some of them are going to be too close, but some of them are still going to be right in the middle in that Goldilocks zone. So to say that there's not life out there at the same time,
Sure.
just in even our universe, or I mean, I'm sorry, in our galaxy, in our little tiny speck compared to the vast majority of galaxies out there, is completely naive to say that and say that we're the only species or that this planet.
Yeah.
I mean, think of how many variations of life are just on this planet alone. You don't
sure.
think there's that many variations of life on countless other planets?
Well, it's hard to tell because first of all, you have to find a planet that's in the Goldilocks zone, which we're in. Once
You don't need
find
to.
that
I don't
planet-
think you need to do the quotes because it's common knowledge that you have to be in the Goldilocks zone in order. For life that we know it to survive.
Exactly. Yeah.
So life could be. I mean, they found life forms that like live off sulfur. So
I think that was disproven. I'd have to look that up. We talked about that before.
They found life that lives off sulfur, and they find life that lives in like the conditions that are so inhospitable that we would absolutely die.
I'm misunderstanding what you said.
Yeah.
So carbon-based life forms. Okay. So
no, I'm just saying in general, there's life forms that, and here's the thing, they don't even need to necessarily be carbon-based. That's only what we've put our thought process on because that's what we can observe. So, I mean, there could be life that could be teeming out there that may be on a small cellular basis that can't go beyond a cellular basis, like a single cell or maybe a couple, couple cells.
Yeah, there might be life in the universe. For sure.
That's on a Goldilocks zone that might be like in like Uranus and Saturn's aspects of who knows. I mean, we don't really know. And then here's the other thing, like look at Jupiter and the size of Jupiter. Is there a Goldilocks zone that goes around a planet that's the size of Jupiter? But the radiation that's coming off Jupiter is a problem. I mean, that's the whole thing. There could be a Goldilocks zone around that planet,
right?
That could be forming life, or that could have it, and maybe they've evolved a certain way that takes that radiation in and is able to survive, just like this planet can take in the solar radiation. Because let's be real, I mean, there's solar radiation all over. It's just different forms of it. Who knows what life could be, because we can't really get beyond our own planet. Right. And it's not like there's some little distant fade beaming back to us saying, oh, hey, hello, we're here or something.
That's why I don't believe in aliens, because we would have found them. And if they were out there,
that's not necessarily true.
In advanced aliens that came to the planet Earth. So
I don't know if they, I don't know. I mean, just the vast distance from this star, from our star to the next star. Yeah. Yes, that's absolute. I mean, so
let's say they could warp.
Hold on. We could be the most advanced civilization that's ever lived in the universe or is currently living in the universe. But
well, even if we weren't, why would they come here? If they had the technology to be able to like warp space, to be able, let's say they could do like a tesseract, right? And they could just warp space to where they could go anywhere they want at any point in space, right? Well, why, if they had that kind of technology, would they need to come here? Surely they would have the technology to be able to like scan and view our planet in the first place. Why do they need to come here to try to probe my butthole?
Here's that I don't believe at all. That probing thing. Yeah. And the reason why I mean, I've heard different theories on it, and I do believe one theory so far, but I don't know. The biggest thing, though, is when it comes to life outside. Okay, what's our closest star? How many light years away? It's 4 light years away, okay?
Who's that? What star is that?
Is it Vega?
I don't know. I mean, I wish I would have paid more attention to all this stuff.
Yeah, I don't
you're
remember.
Right, though. It's like 3 or 4 light years, right?
Yeah, just type in Google what the closest star is. And then let's get our Blue Yeti later.
All right, I do.
I want that cooler.
I definitely want the Blue Yeti cooler. I think we should order it right now.
Hold on. I want to
We definitely should order the Blue Yeti.
Yeah, I want to get that blue Yeti at some point. Maybe today or tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm not sure yet, but we'll see.
Order the Blue Yeti right now.
Not right now. I'm going to do it later
Oh,
or
Alpha
something.
Centauri.
Yes,
Of
that's right.
course.
That's right. Vega is
It's
from
4.3 light years away.
Okay, so that's the closest star.
Yeah.
So that means light, which is thought to be the fastest thing
That we know of.
that
yeah.
we know of, or that we can conceive of, or whatever it might be.
Measurable. Yeah.
That's measurable, yes. It takes 4.3 years for light to go from our sun to that star.
Yeah.
Or to that solar system that's around that star.
Yeah.
It takes 4.3 years.
Yep.
Then you start getting into longer time spans as you go further and further out. So we're in the Sagittarius arm, correct?
I don't know.
Well, we're in the arm. I believe it's the Sagittarius arm. And if I'm mistaken, then I blame the Mandela effect.
Okay.
But as far as I remember, we're in the Sagittarius arm of the galaxy, which is kind of like not too close to the center, but not too far away. We're like just a little beyond, I think, the midway point within like the close from the center black hole all the way out to like the furthest stars of the Milky Way. I think we're just a little beyond the halfway point. Going outwards, I mean, but yeah, we're in one of the arms. So if
we are in the Orion arm, according to that Google guy.
Yeah, see, I don't believe it's the Orion arm. I believe it's a Sagittarius arm, and I'm going to say it's the Mandela effect.
Probably
taking account because everything seems to change from here and then. But with that being said, as you, like I said, as you get further and further away going in distance, you're starting to get 10 light years away, 20 light years away, 100 light years away.
The Milky Way galaxy is 10,000 light years wide.
Yes. So, you start getting 5,000 light years away. And okay, how long have we been able to send out signals beyond our own atmosphere? Which would be radio signals. Yep. And the radio was what, 1890s?
Let's find out.
Something around there. So a little over 100 plus years, less than 150 years. So we've only been able to encapsulate X amount of range in terms of output. Now, we could have hit something and somebody could have been like tuned in to our planet specifically. And that's the other thing. I mean, like you're over such distances, you have to be at a pinpoint of accuracy in order to pick something up because the way it's directed. So if the satellite's not looking in that direction, it's not going to see it or whatever that it could be. So like we could be getting signals that we don't even know yet or are coming to us that we don't even have the capabilities to pick up yet. And we might be broadcasting things that they don't have the same technology that can pick it up. So we don't necessarily know. But again, as we start looking out further and further and further, and then even when we get into not just our Milky Way, but when we go into Andromeda, which is, 1 billion light years away? Or something like that. And that's our closest galaxy next to us. And then you start getting further and further and further and further, and you're getting billions of light years away. And to the point where how is it even possible for us to do that? But the thing is, too, again, they could have been wiped out 150 years ago and been sending signals, and then signals stopped. And same thing, we could be sending signals out, but the signal's going out only to a certain point and hasn't reached a point. We don't know yet. There's so much that's going on because every time you look into the stars, you're looking into the past because it's taken that long for the star's light to get from that star emitting it light years to here. So there's so much beyond, like we're so small in the speck of things.
Yeah, but yet so big. If you look at how small an atom is and look at how big our bodies are, it's crazy. like if you look at like an amoeba, they're so tiny, but then the universe is so big. But that's exactly my point. So the galaxy, the universe is huge, right? But the amount of space that is between things for alien civilization to be able to travel to Earth, they'd have to be able to somehow travel faster than the speed of light, theoretically, to be able to get here.
Or fold space and time.
Well, that's the whole thing. So if they have that technology, then they would definitely be able to look at our planet and use some kind of scanning device to be like, humans, blah, blah. Yeah, why would they come here? I don't get why they would come here.
But not necessarily. I mean, if they came here, I don't think that they would go to the leader of the planet per se.
Definitely not. There wouldn't.
And why would they come to us as the humans? Why wouldn't they go? Maybe they go to bears, or maybe they go to gophers, or maybe they go to sharks.
But also, that's assuming that
dolphins,
that much more advanced species of life within 13.5 billion years of the creation of how long ago was the Big Bang? 14 something billion years ago.
Yeah. What does that have to do with anything?
So that would mean that everything would have to form and solidify in space. That planet would have to evolve to have life that is so much more advanced than us to be able to warp space to be able to come to our planet and then scope us out. But not only would they not check our planet out from a distance and be able to see it, they would actually have to come here for some strange reason.
Yeah, but
it just doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't. I'm not saying that they're coming here, I'm saying that there's life out there.
Yeah, of course.
And there's other intelligent life out there, and there's probably life that's much more advanced than we are.
Within that time frame of the Big Bang, that's my whole. You have to keep in mind.
Here's the thing, though. It doesn't matter what the Big Bang started as, because there were a lot of other stars and suns and planets that formed and then disformed because of star. The life cycle of a star. Our planet is 4.6 billion years. Yeah. Roughly.
Yeah. Theoretically, how fast could humans advance in the next 3 times as long as now?
Well, look at what we've accomplished in the last 100 years. Yeah, look at what we've accomplished.
It is exponential, for sure.
Look at what we've accomplished in the last 30 years. Yeah. Then look at what we've accomplished in the last 10 years.
I mean, it's feasible, but I don't see why, if they had that technology, they would come here. But here's a different theory. Check this out. And I can't take credit for this. I think we talked about this. There's a book called The Sphere, and they made it into a movie. Well, if
the movie sucked.
It did suck, and the book is way better. Read the book. The book was good. Read the book. So in this movie, Sphere, they find a spaceship at the bottom of the ocean. They go down there and they find these weird sphere things in the cargo hold, which is a whole nother story. But they find out that the spaceship at the bottom of the ocean, spoiler alert for those people who haven't read it, they find out that this spaceship is actually a time machine. And it somehow came back from the future. Now, I don't believe that time travel is possible either, but that's just as plausible as these alien spaceships that allegedly are found in Area 51. What if it was a time machine? What if it was a human invention from the future that somehow, came back into the past and got crashed here, and that's what we're discovered and trying to take apart? Because Bob Lazar says that he thinks that those crafts were dug up and are archaeological artifacts in Earth.
That's the theory I would think.
Yeah.
Because
that's just as plausible.
They found Martian rocks on this planet from Mars. They found rocks from the moon on Earth. Yeah. So how is it that hard to think that? Yeah. And here's the other thing. It's very possible that there was an alien civilization that was out looking for a new planet, and they came and didn't account for maybe a solar flare that was going off at the same time they were coming through, or maybe something with the the whole magnetic sphere of Earth,
Yeah.
like maybe was doing something weird, or all this stuff was going on, and then all of a sudden it like crash landed here
Yeah.
on the planet. But they realized that this planet is good for life, or maybe that there was life on the planet, and they already came here a long time ago.
Maybe.
And we just don't know it because of the record. And then obviously the amount of people that would find this type of technology would more likely than not be a governmental entity, because they're able to, I mean, does it give off radiation? Does it, how do you perceive these things? How do you know that you like, I mean, to find certain things that, you know, like look for oil.
Yeah.
You know, they're scanning the Earth, and they're doing this in a geological sense to scan the inside of the Earth from earthquakes and from things like that, to find where oil pockets and oil reserves are, so they can drill it so we can have gas for our cars and plastic to drink our water bottles out of.
Well,
So
see, I don't believe either one of those things. I don't believe that there's aliens that have advanced technology that are coming to Earth, and I don't believe in time travel. So
No, I don't
that
I don't
only
think-
leaves to me a human invention.
no, I don't know if it's I don't think it's human invention. I think it's something that probably had crash landed. And you know what? It could have just been tossed out, and we were lucky enough to have it crash here. Or maybe they were sent out all over the place, and maybe Mars has a bunch of them on there too that we haven't figured out yet. Or maybe they landed on the moon, and we went to the moon, pulled it off, and brought it here. Who knows?
Now, see, I think that if the story is true and there really is a device that you can't put your hands on because of some kind of anti-gravity, I think it was man-made. And
Here's
that
the big thing, though.
if
you
anywhere
can't
was going
put
to
your
happen,
hand, but here's the thing: if you can't put your hands on it, how do you move it?
that's what I said.
How do you like pick it up from here to
That's
there?
what I said. He
It
said that it only works when you put it on the platform, but once it's going, you can't touch it. Well, how
can't
did they
stop it either.
Yeah, how did they pick it up and bring it off the platform?
So
if you
how do they?
couldn't-
Yeah, but that's the thing. How do they turn it on? How do they turn it
Exactly,
off?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I get the whole thing. From taking it from the Joe Rogan podcast, I get the whole metaphor where they're saying that it's like taking warhead back to like 17th century Victorian times, and just giving it to them and seeing what they'll do with it.
Yeah, well, to be clear,
It's
for
kind of the
accuracy,
same thing.
it was a nuclear reactor from a submarine, or they also use a motorcycle. If you took a motorcycle and give it to the
If
Victorian
you took
era,
anything from today's
But I don't
day,
think that's what's
if you
happening.
if you took a cell phone that was charged and gave it back to them, they'd be like, "Whoa!"
But see, if you were a government that has what you are complaining about, unlimited tax money resources,
Bastards.
yeah, and they're taking your hard-earned money and they can do whatever they want with it, and they're using it for advanced experiments, who knows what they have? I really think that if this story is true, it's a man-made object. That's what
It's
I think.
possible, but I don't. You know, the only thing is, there's no other tech that would come close to it, and that's the thing. It doesn't make sense. And then the biggest thing.
here's my question.
Here's the biggest thing, though. First is he also said that it's a certain element known as element 115. And for anybody who may not know what element 115 actually is, it's a radioactive element, highly radioactive and highly unstable. But they also think that there could be isotopes of 115 in other parts of the universe that might be much more stable and non-radioactive.
No, they think that you could probably make a stable version
Or
of it,
make-
but that's where
yeah.
chemistry comes in. So you think, I forget when he said they announced the discovery of that element.
Yeah, it was much later than
Well,
when his story
But
broke.
that's when, like, your timeline. So of course,
That was another burden of proof that he had, was that he was talking about element 115.
So let's
he was
say-
talking about the properties of it.
Yeah.
And this was before 115 was even like discovered.
Okay, well, here, that's my point. So let's say that just regular scientists, regular everyday scientists discover element 115, and they announce it in, I think they said, what was it, 1999
I don't know, somewhere.
Now Bob Lazar claims that he worked at Area 51 in the 80s, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's only 20 years between just normal lab scientists being able to find this element and confirming that it exists and add it to the periodic table. Now we're talking about a government with unlimited resources. Why wouldn't they have the most intelligent people on the planet? They would easily be able to discover this 20 years before a layman, people who don't have unlimited resources and the smartest people.
Here's
so
the
fact
thing.
that they came out with this within a 20-year time frame.
No, because they
coerced. It may be man-made.
First of all, they said that they've had it for much longer. It wasn't earlier. I mean, they said that they had these things for much longer.
Who said?
And I don't know. That's what I heard. That's what I remember hearing.
Bob Lazar said that he didn't know whether they had it for 5 years or 50 years.
Well, yeah, that's true. But one of the things, though, that I find peculiar, and if you want, this could just be making a strange connection, but one of the crazy things is, okay, so go back a few more years, and what was going on in the realm of the U.S. military and NASA. Mm-hmm. You had post World War II, Nazis coming as basically just scientists that were coming from Nazi Germany after the war had ended.
Yeah.
And you go back a little bit further during World War II, and then you go back a little bit further before that, and you start having all the scientists that were still in Germany. Mm-hmm. And some of the things that they were trying to do and come up with and like just technology-wise was well beyond what many, many, many places were able to do, including the U.S.
Yeah.
They were on the forefront of technology, but the thing is, they were also looking at things like, some of the big theories and conspiracies was they were looking for Middle Earth, and they were looking for this tech and this abnormal tech in Antarctica and other places around the world. And how do you know that this weird tech wasn't those things that they came and were able to somehow find and gather and get, because they were believing in this almost science fiction like way, when maybe it actually paid off a little bit because they were working on experiments that were well beyond technology that we had that we even had at that time. Radar was just starting, and they had it, and then
the Germans were responsible for a lot of awesome technology, but those are all man-made technologies. So why would?
Well, how do you know it was man-made and not found? That tech was found, and then all of a sudden they were doing experiments on it to try to incorporate it into their arsenal of technology, their arsenal of weapons, or their arsenal of just knowledge.
I think there would have been someone would have leaked. There would have been some kind of record. Maybe.
Who knows? I mean, how do you know that wasn't what
possible
ended up? Why do you think that some of the scientists made it here instead of, going
when it comes to stuff like that? I would think that someone on their deathbed would have said something like, I'm 92 years old, I'm dying, we found aliens in the Antarctic, and that's what we use to base our technology to build ballistic missiles or helicopters or U-boats.
Start doing that to his assistant when he was starting to die?
I don't know that story, but I would think that a lot more people would have said something. But I think that everything on the planet is man-made. That's just what I think. But so it's not implausible to me to have someone, when you have the advanced resources that our government has, to have the top scientists, the top thinkers. Where else would they be? That's exactly what they would be working on, is these crafts. So think of it this way. If you had a laser, you've seen a laser pointer, I'm sure, right? Well, when you move a laser pointer around like this, it goes beep, beep, beep. Why couldn't you invent some kind of technology that would essentially be able to propel something controlled with microwaves, kind of like a laser beam or a light beam that could control it that way? And the descriptions that they have of these craft that move like this and that, and left and right and up and down super fast. Well, why wouldn't you be able to invent some kind of technology that you could control it essentially with what would be these a light beam or something like that. It's not implausible. Maybe they have that. Maybe that's what we're seeing in the desert is some kind of radio frequency controlled or light beam controlled aircraft.
Yeah. So,
But it's man-made. I don't believe in aliens. I just don't. And I don't believe in time travel either.
well, time is a perceptional thing, but there's a lot of different things right here, but they say it might be mental illness if you dive into it, because I'm looking at a lot of different things right
Blame it
here.
on dementia.
It just says mental illness. I'm not going into any of the articles because a lot of them. I mean, one of them is from Tom DeLonge.
Yeah, they look
Who
suspect.
believes in Tom DeLonge? Dumb. I mean, he's a little out there to begin with.
Well, would it disappoint a lot of people to just say, well, no, there's no such thing as aliens that are coming to planet Earth? There may be life forms.
I don't know.
but
I mean, again,
a lot of
I don't.
people like.
Again,
Does it
I don't
scare
think-
them
I
that
don't.
we're the only ones here?
No, it's not that. I think that you're saying the wrong thing. I think you should be admitting that there is intelligent life forms that are outside this Earth, that are multiples all over the universe.
Yeah, why would I admit that? I don't believe that though.
But to say that there isn't is irresponsible.
Well, I think
and
to say that there
against-
is irresponsible as well.
No, I mean,
What I say is I don't know.
Statistically, it's so unlikely that there's no other life form that's out there, let alone an intelligent life form.
See, that's where I disagree. Now, if you look at Earth,
Because then it doesn't show your true understanding of how the universe works.
okay, well, I would say the same thing to you then, sir, because if you look at all of the variables that have to come together to create advanced life, show me another place where everything comes together like it does on Earth to create
That's
the life.
what they're looking for
Well,
right
we
now.
haven't found it yet.
That doesn't mean we won't find it tomorrow.
Yeah, I agree, but that's why I say life is fewer and far between than people think, because there's so many variables that
Yes,
have to
but
come
there's
together.
still countless planets
Yeah.
that are still out there that are way undiscovered.
That's why-
just in this Milky Way galaxy.
That's why I say that the
Let alone-
possibility of
let
life out
alone
there is not
the
null.
Billions of galaxies that are in the universe.
Right.
And to say that we're the only life form of this planet is the only one to have life is absolutely insane.
I don't
to
think
say.
that, but I think that it's few and far between. I think that life is very rare in the universe. That's what
No,
I think.
I don't think life is that fair, or life
I do.
is that
Because
rare.
there's so many variables that have to come together that I
but
think
there's
there may.
so much different life that's out there just in this planet. So many different types of life.
Yeah.
You have trees.
Yeah,
You have
it's all
thousands of different
carbon-based.
trees.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's still carbon, whether it's carbon based or
It
not.
all
it
comes
doesn't
back
matter.
to the same chemical structure.
It doesn't
so
matter.
to have the right circumstances to have replicatable DNA or RNA, you have to have a million different variables.
You're also
that-
basing it on the fact that carbon-based life form is the only life form, when in fact we really don't know if that's true or not, because we aren't able to observe anything
Mm-hmm.
else yet.
So that's why I think that it's very rare and few and far between. And all we can go by is what we can observe right now. And if you look at the way that the Earth functions and how it supports life, yes, there may be another planet out there which is capable and has the right variables to support life, but I think it's very rare, because when we point our telescopes in the sky and look at we don't find anything that is like Earth. There are some that have similar characteristics, but there's always something missing.
We don't even have the tech to be able to distinguish planets that are Earth size. Or we've just been able to get that technology to find Earth size planets. Like literally, I don't even know if the tech is like fully working yet. You know, they've been able to find larger Earth-sized planets, which I don't even know how that works, I should say Earth-like planets, which are like, every time they say it's like 2 or 3 times the size of Earth, which, okay, yeah, you're breaking it down, but we just discovered the first outside planets of outside of our solar system very recently. And then beyond that, you know, they're just starting to find that there's many, many planets, and then they're looking at the habitable zones, and they're just starting to be able to find the smaller planets now because the tech is just so even our our telescopes can only get so finite that you can only look so far because of such vast distances.
Right. So that's why I think that there may be some kind of other life out there. I don't think that we're alone in the universe, but it's rare and it's few and far between.
I highly doubt that.
I hope we live long enough to find the answer to this question.
That would be nice. Yeah. I'd love to be like, told you.
Yeah, me too. I'll bet you $1.
I'm not taking that bet at all because there's no way to prove or disprove it.
Yeah.
I want actual results to be able to make a bet.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't want to be like, oh, well, we haven't found anything yet. Oh, we did. Okay.
Yeah. That's what I have to say.
And then the other thing, too, is if we have found life, what's to say that they're keeping it hush for a particular reason?
Well, that's always the argument that people would freak the fuck out.
Well, I don't know if they'd freak the fuck out, but that
would be the government's defense of not telling people.
No, it would undermine religion quite substantially to the point where you might have some mass chaos going on. And, maybe here's the thing. There could have been a few people at any point in time that said, okay, well, let's establish or think about what might happen in a mass or if we said that there was life out there. Let's go through some examples, or let's try to make a focus group or a study or something, and maybe they skewed the results one way or the other because they wanted to keep it secret for some instead of letting it out. Who knows? I mean, there's a lot of secrets in the government and just our government in general that have just finally started coming out. So who knows if that's a secret as well too. But that's the big thing too. It's, there's no ability of say you and me or or let's just say a civilian that can go and kind of do these types of experiments or find or look using these telescopes. You have to be a scientist, and what if you find certain things, and what was that site that got shut down last year, and it was a satellite that was I believe it was in New Mexico, and last year around this time they Black Hawk helicopters came and shut it down for a few weeks, including the post office that was. Do
you know why?
They didn't really come out and say why.
Yeah, they did. It's the stupidest thing.
Yeah, and it was a stupid thing, but thing is, who knows if that's true or not?
Well, they said that there was a scientist there who was downloading child pornography on their computer system.
Yeah, but
that's what the investigation was.
That's what they came out and said.
Yeah, of course.
But
that's the
why
story.
would you shut down the post office that's nearby?
Yeah, they were doing
why would you shut down this vast area of things? Yeah. And do it to me? It doesn't. I mean, to anybody, it doesn't add up or make sense. Why would you do that? Because all you do is you come in. I mean, anybody would come in, take the computers, or take over the computers and search through them and could find anything.
Yeah.
And but it was down for weeks. It wasn't a quick thing where it's a few hours or even a day or two. This was a few weeks that it was down.
Yeah,
but
they
still,
were doing a forensic investigation.
It was a very unbelievable story when you have all this. Again, why would you shut down the post office that's near it? It's not close to it by any means. I mean, it's close.
I would have to look into that. I don't know if that was the case.
So the post office was shut down.
I think it might have been either it's the post office that was involved. I'd have to look it up.
The post office was shut down as well, too.
Yeah.
Like there were people, I mean, obviously the UFO people were like, oh my God, they discovered something and now they're being shut down and they're within that distance and they're
See,
erasing
I didn't
everything.
get that story. I got that there was like some kind of incident where they were afraid of
No,
like a
that's-
package bomb or something. And
That's like
what they were
that's like the UFO. No, because they shut it down at the same time.
Yeah, that's what I thought, that they were doing an investigation over like some kind of like, because that's what they do if there's something being mailed through the mail that's a illicit substance. They shut everything down. Well, who
but
knows? You don't know what happened.
They have like all these sensors that would sense it before. So that's the weird thing. But either way, it's like you don't necessarily know. And even if they find something, it's like, are they going to tell everybody, or are they going to tell, certain people? And then here's the other thing. Those certain people could come back and say, oh, well, yeah, we had other people look at it. We found that it was really nothing. And then they kept it hush hush on top of it. So even the people that think they find something could be misled into thinking that it's not really something at all.
For sure.
I mean, there's so many things because there's so much secrecy that nobody really knows. And that's the whole thing about questioning different things.
Now, if you were a government, why wouldn't you say, okay, if people knew that if we had proof that there's other intelligent life forms out there and maybe they have higher technology than we do, wouldn't you tell everybody? And the reason for that being was, right now on Earth, human beings are violent and are killing each other in every different way possible all around the globe. There's wars, there's nuclear weapons, there's destruction. Wouldn't you use that as a way to unite human beings globally so that we are all, that's probably the counterpoint to say, well, we can't tell everyone because they'll freak out and kill everybody.
No, saying that there's that we found life forms beyond this planet, just saying that, I think would have a impact, like saying, oh my God, there's life. I don't think it would have any impact.
Do you think people
when it would come to
what the government
personal
says,
beliefs in that?
Well, you think that what the government says is people would be in the streets rioting and burning everything down, and it would be the end of human civilization, that we couldn't handle it?
No, I don't think that. But like I said, I think what's to say that like a small group of people got together and said, well, let's try and find let's do a focus group, and that focus group was swayed in a particular way that the results show. Like it's almost like the sugar industry. When the sugar industry tried discrediting, or when heart disease was coming around, they were doing studies, and then the sugar industry was paying off scientists and studies to say that it was fats versus sugar, when in fact it's sugar that causes problems, not necessarily fats. Yep. So it's this whole misinformation where again, it's speculation, but a group of people which has been responsible for many things like this. So why wouldn't something like that be the same type of thing, where they can just come in and say, we ran it by people and they started going crazy. They were having mental breakdowns. They were going, they were participating sadistic and masochistic things, and we couldn't control these people. So if you find anything, we need to keep it quiet, because the human race is not ready for this type of thing yet. Right. When in fact, I don't think that to be true. I mean,
okay, well,
I think
that line
most
of thinking,
people would actually be. I think if they said that, yes, they found life, they know where it is. That, let's just say it's, I don't know, somewhere. They found life, and they don't really know if there's intelligent life there, but they were able to distinguish that there is life forms on that planet some way, somehow. I think that the people would probably be like, wow, that's amazing, but I don't think it would unite people. I don't think it'll change
I don't think so either.
Petty differences between
that's the counter
people.
Argument to the if in fact the government knew that there were aliens and they weren't telling people, it's because the defense is always that, people will freak out and there'll be pandemonium.
Yeah, I don't think that.
Well, the flip side to that coin is that it would unite people, which is
and I don't think that either.
I don't think so either. And you're right. It would be a mediocre response.
If you want a united front, you need to actually have like a real threat, which means something like an alien invasion.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's
But I think a perfect.
if you want to dive down a conspiracy rabbit hole, there's the one of the conspiracies that I've come across recently that I don't really know if I mean it's weird, but what they say is that there's like these leaks where there's like alien invasions coming in movies, and then there's these things that like the government will like leak out and all this stuff, and it's just this little dribble of information that's trickling down, and they're saying that it's going to be a long game that we're in the process of doing, where they're going to fake an alien invasion to unite the world to create a new world order versus having different sectors of the planet. They're going to unite, and people are going to want a one world order.
All right, I'm ready.
Which is a new world order.
Yeah.
So it's that's the conspiracy behind it.
Well, if you were actually wanted to find out what happened if you told someone or showed someone that there were aliens, maybe Bob Lazar is the perfect guinea pig for that. Maybe you walk someone into Area 51 or whatever the side base that he was at. I forget what it was called.
Yeah.
And you show him some weird technology. Yeah.
Dissemination agent.
But he's a
Not
perfect
necessarily
example.
a misinformation agent, but a dissemination.
Yeah. And he's a perfect example, though, of, if his story is true, of a guinea pig of what happens when you tell an average person that there is alien life out there. He didn't freak out. He runs a business. You know what I mean? Like, I think most human beings, well, I can't say that, but I think human beings would be able to, they'd be like, oh, there's aliens out. Where are they? I
don't think it's going to be detrimental to society. So yeah. I think that
it would definitely shift people's worldview for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I think, I mean, I don't remember what the study is. There was some study that I saw that they like asked people if they believed in alien life or life outside the planet, and there was a vast majority that think there is, because the universe is just too big. So that study could be part of it, where they're like, is the human race ready for this yet? Yeah. I said Yeti because I want a Yeti cooler.
Well, we should get the Yeti cooler. I've been looking at the Yeti cooler, and it looks pretty cool. The Yeti cooler looks pretty cool.
It does. For sure. And I think that it'll keep it. I wonder if the Yeti cooler will keep things pretty hot too. Yeah. Because I want to put in like a nice big pot of chicken noodle soup.
Yeah.
Fresh off of the oven, as well as some homemade spaghetti sauce.
Yeah.
I wonder if it'll keep it hot.
Do you think the Yeti cooler will help keep that cool?
Yeah. Oh no, we'll absolutely. It'll keep it hot.
Would the Igloo cooler do a better job with that? I think Yeti's the top of the line.
I think Yeti's top.
But okay, when we're looking at coolers, all right. You know what? Okay, so what if this happened? What if you're Bob, and they're like, oh, come on over here, and look at this little ball that you can't even, when we turn it on somehow, you can't even put your hands on it. Go ahead, try to pick it up. Oh, you can't put your hands on it. All right.
What if it was like electromagnetic, and they made it look like it was something, and it really was nothing?
That's what he said. He said that they did experiments, that they tried to, there was no electromagnetic activity coming up. But here's the thing. What if it was all just a ruse, and you're the guy that walks out of there, and you're like going out and like, don't tell anybody what you saw in here. And it's just it's a setup. What if you live your whole life?
I mean, it could. Well,
Bob, we were just messing with you. Oh,
no, but I mean, if you listen to his story, he wasn't suspect of anything or like coming out with anything until there was issues in home, because he was being essentially being bugged by them to hear all conversations.
Yeah, and because, that's what you sign up for.
Because he had to keep quiet to his wife at the time, that's going to drive a wedge between them, and yet they want you to have a good home life. So they're actually counteracting themselves with the wrong way, because if you can't talk to your spouse about something, especially your work life and what you do, that's going to drive a huge wedge between. I
don't know about that, because I know someone who they can't talk about what they do, and their relationship's fine. You know?
Yeah, but every relationship's going to be different.
Yeah.
And
I get
that
it.
could be the exact same thing where she wanted to know
Why
what
are you
was
so
going
distant?
on. Yeah, exactly. And then, the other thing is how he said that he had to work like 24, 48 hours in a row or whatever it might be. So if he's gone for a few days, she could start growing suspect, especially when he's saying, I can't really talk about what I'm doing or whatever the reason is, if he's continuing to stay with that. So she's going to start growing apart in her own mind because she's going to be like, oh, well, he's just not into me anymore, whatever was going on. So, she started having an affair with that person. And because they were bugging the phones, they found out that she was having an affair and realized that his home life was not good. So it posed double threat. So that's why when they questioned him about it and figured it out, that's when he started, looking at it differently and realizing and kind of taking people to that mountainside to show people what was going on. And
well, I don't think that's the way it happened, but
yeah,
it doesn't matter.
That's what he was saying. And because that's what it started happening after they questioned him, because then they took him off that project and they he didn't know what was going on. So he wanted to be able to, get his story out. So there was this whole thing that was happening. So I don't think, I don't know if it was necessarily them saying, oh, well, we're going to use him. I mean, maybe they started building a personality profile on him at some point, and worked into their favor, for him to do that. But I don't know if that was necessarily, more dissemination versus anything.
Knows? You never know. Maybe there was nothing there at all. Maybe they just, you know what I mean?
Maybe it was just a shit ton of LSD and they flashed some crazy lights.
Yeah.
And
it's possible.
Had this like electromagnetic ball that was just a magnet. And when you turned it on, you could grab it, but you couldn't pick it up because it was actually magnetized. To
be honest with you, it goes back to what I was saying. If you're a government with unlimited funds, who knows what you could invent? So just because he went in there and saw something,
there's a realm of where you can go and where you can't.
Yeah.
And to have something like that, especially where if it's already there and you're testing what it can do or testing how to handle it, that shows that you don't know what it is.
But that's
and that
the
shows
story, so who knows what really happened. But if they actually had something that you couldn't pick up for some reason, it's not implausible for a government to be able to create that technology.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, but I don't know. I mean, if his story is true.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that is exactly what it is, I don't think that it would have came from here. I think it would have been from elsewhere that made it out, and it just happened to come here.
Who knows?
And it could have been, there could have been certain signatures that this planet gave off, a billion years ago, that the planet was giving off and showing life on the planet, but nobody knew what was going on. So maybe it was this thing that they would that they brought or that they shot out, or who knows what could have been, and who knows how long it could have been in space if it was in space and crash landed here, whether it be on purpose or not. Who knows?
Or what if it was a spaceship from the future?
Maybe that. Well, I don't think so. I mean,
what if it was human beings who came back in time? I don't believe that either, because here's my thing.
Well, if you can control gravity, you can control time.
Well, that's my whole thing. So,
but can you go back in time is the real question.
Well, every molecule is just essentially energy, right? We don't know exactly what, quantum physics doesn't explain exactly. We don't know what matter is. We have a general idea.
We don't even know. I mean, we don't even know a drop in the bucket.
Exactly.
We don't even know a drop in the ocean.
Right. But to the best of our knowledge, it seems like molecules are made up of little tiny particles, which essentially is just energy. Now, what that energy is, we don't know. We can't see far enough down to figure out what it is. We have a general idea of how the physics of everything in this room and around us work, right? Mm-hmm. Well, if you follow those lines of physics, that means that in order to time travel, you'd have to take every little piece of energy and somehow reverse it back to the state that it was in previously.
Yeah, but
that's why I don't think time
on
travel is
But the thing is,
possible.
that's on a quantum mechanics or quantum physics or whichever one. I mean, there's different theories which allow the possibility of time travel, depending on which theory you're talking about.
But think about it. Everything that holds, like for my hand to go back to this state from here, I moved it to here. But in order to reverse my hand back to the state and to reverse you back to what you were doing even 30 seconds ago, it would mean that I'd have to take every piece of energy in the molecules in my entire body, reverse them the other way that they're spinning backwards, and do that in every single thing everywhere to be able to make time go backwards. And that seems just impossible to me. That's why I don't think time travel is possible, because all that's happening right now is reality.
But the thing is, theoretically, depending on what
because when you say time isn't real,
physics you're thinking in, then you theoretically it is possible.
Yeah.
Theoretically. But again, there's no proof for it, so you can't say it isn't possible, and you can't say it is possible right now, because again, it's theoretical.
Yeah. So how would you reverse the spin of every molecule backwards?
It's not
and
necessarily
rearrange it backwards?
Yeah, but that's not necessarily the way. But again, that might be a point that they've come to realization, and it might be very possible to do some way, but we have no idea because it's beyond our control. It's beyond our knowledge.
But it just seems to me, in order to be able to go back in time, that's what you would have to do.
I don't know.
You'd have to reverse everything. So this website that I go to, it's called YouTube. On YouTube, there's this real rideshare stories. It's pretty good. I like it a lot, and you should check it out. There's lots of different stories about rideshares on there. And then you can also check out the worst rideshare driver ever. He's on there for sure. And it's definitely good to go check out. Also, you we'll be able to go onto YouTube and check out this podcast, the Anything Podcast. The email address is therealanythingpodcast@gmail.com. So questions, comments, concerns, a disclaimer that I should probably have at the beginning of the show is that this is just talk. We're talking about, we're exercising our freedom of speech and just talking. I am in no means an expert of anything. I'm just talking. And I'm a layman in most subjects. The only thing I can do pretty well is ice skate. I can do that. But all of these topics I'm just an average guy that's discussing these topics. I'm not a physicist. I'm not anything except for average Aaron. So anything that I say is subject to change at any given minute. These are just my thoughts and observations, and they're not written in stone in my brain. So if I say something that you disagree with, well, I'm probably going to think something different in 30 seconds anyway. So hope you enjoy our podcast. We get into some good conversations, and you can go to YouTube and check out Real Rideshare Stories. And I don't think time travel is possible, and I don't think aliens exist. And if they do exist, they're far, far across the universe, and they're not here. There's definitely not aliens on the planet at this juncture. They did not come from outer space. No one has come from outer space. There's no one from outer space, and time travel is not possible. That's what I have to say.
We'll see. Because honestly, everything is still up in the air.
Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Was that about it, do you say?
Yeah. Okay. It's 11 o'clock, so we're going to wrap it up.
You know what? They used to have a saying on the news that says, it's 11 o'clock.
Do you know where
your children are?
Yeah, they're swimming around in my balls, ready to shoot out.
There's probably some poor person who had like a runaway or something at home. Was like, no, I don't know where my children are. I always like, why would you say that? There's probably some. Or what if someone's kid died or something? Like, oh, poor Jimmy. That always bothered me on that news.
I always made fun of it.
Yeah. Do you know where your children are?
I always say, yeah, because they're in my balls swimming around ready to shoot out.
Just be like, why don't you just come on the news and say, hey, be a good parent. Your kid should be in bed by now.
You should come on the news.
Yeah. All right. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love.
Mm-hmm. And I think most people don't do that. They should take life a little more enjoyable and serious because it is a gift. Well, not too serious, you know what I mean? All right, so that's the end of tonight's podcast. Have a great night, everybody.